The guy's got plenty of money. He knows how the business works. He probably is very fortunate that he got an extra year in Jacksonville. Probably very fortunate maybe that he even got another head coaching job in the NFL. I'm not sure he would have even had that opportunity if not for Tom Coughlin bringing him in 2017. That's debatable, but I think it's a fair debate. You feel for the family and the kids and all the assistant coaches and now what for them, and because those guys aren't always they're not all making millions of dollars. So that's a different situation for them. We know some of them. We've been through this before. It's a small community here. So we wish all of them the best, and hopefully everything works out for them. But there was no drama in that. So much so that maybe, and I wonder this, Austin, did Shad Khan do Doug Marrone a little bit of a disservice in the sense that he kept him on all the way through? Because the rumors were inevitable. Whether it's about Urban Meyer, whether it's about Marvin Lewis, whether it's about the next guy, we all knew the end game. And so, therefore, the rumors start to fly because reports are out there and people throw things out there. And now we can all wonder the truth of all the reports. But it puts Doug in a tough spot, and I think he indicated that a little bit yesterday after the game. He looked a little annoyed by the idea that all the Urban Meyer stuff was floating around over the weekend, and he had yet to be fired or told that he was going to be fired. But it kind of makes you wonder maybe they should have pulled the trigger on that maybe even last week or a couple of weeks ago to avoid that part of it from Marrone.
Yeah, it is a little peculiar, right? Because Doug Marrone's kind of his last send-off was him quoting saying, listen, I had no idea about Urban Meyer. When I talked to Shad Khan about it, he said that was news to him. Now, whether Doug Marrone was lying about that or not, I have a reason to believe that he wasn't lying. I think he was telling the truth. I don't think there's really any communication about whether the Urban Meyer rumors are true or not. Now, Shad Khan going to Doug Marrone saying, that's news to me, I'll be honest with you. The writing's on the wall, right? Doug Marrone's going to be gone. We all knew that, and now he's gone to this day. And I get that. But what I didn't like is the last period in this chapter closing is another case of miscommunication. Okay, and I've been so adamant about on this show for the past year and a half, dating back to Tom Coughlin, where there has to be better communication. So if I was Shad Khan and Doug Marrone asked me, hey, what's up with these Urban Meyer rumors? I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to say, you know what? We're obviously going to maybe look in new directions. It is what it is right now. I'll talk to you on Monday. That's all you had to say. But Doug Marrone's parting shot literally was another example of the lack of communication within this franchise.
Yeah, and I don't know what Shad Khan owes Doug Marrone in that sense. I really don't. I think that's the nature of the business. That's why I would just say, hey, maybe you should have pulled the trigger on it a little bit earlier because you knew this was inevitable. It was going to happen in terms of some of the rumors, whether it was Urban Meyer or not. Obviously, the Urban Meyer stuff heats up because he's such a big name and he's available. So you don't have to ask for permission and all that stuff. And there's a relationship between Shad Khan and Urban Meyer to begin with from the Big Ten and kind of behind the scenes in the Big Ten. Obviously, Shad Khan is involved in the Big Ten in some sort of ways. I don't really know exactly which ways, but with the Illinois connection, he is. So that's how they know each other. And I believe this is a little bit more Urban Meyer's camp, probably putting stuff out there. But still, you can't control everything if you're Shad Khan. You can't. He does a great job of controlling it. I mean, there is not a lot that leaks out from Shad Khan. But I just don't think you can avoid some of it this day and age, and I think that's what we saw an example of with the Urban Meyer stuff. Now, how much of it is true? Is this happening? What happens from here on out? Because here's the other thing. It's a bit of semantics, in my opinion. It's like, okay, have you talked to Urban Meyer? Well, maybe not directly, but maybe a representative talked to his representative. That stuff happens all the time. You know how I feel about it. I believe, especially if these guys are free agents, so to speak, and not with another team, I believe last year Shad Khan probably vetted the situation and said, okay, who's out there, who's available, talk to this guy a little bit, see if he'd be interested. I think you have to be doing that. If you're the owner of the football team, you have to know what might be available if you make a coaching move this year versus next year and all the like. So the bottom line now, that part's over. So whatever was a little muddy there for 24, 36 hours, it's over. And now let the search begin. And there's a big list of names, man. I mean, Urban Meyer's obviously the hot name. And I don't know how you feel about that. I'm going to ask you about him in just a moment. We'll talk more about Urban Meyer. But I think names, you have Urban, who could be this big hot shot candidate, huge name. What an attraction. The ticket office, like, yeah, bring it on. I mean, Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer, but hang on, talk about a hot ticket. Wow.
Let me ask you this, though. Do people go to games to see the coaches on the sidelines coach?
No, but there are two things in an organization, and this is historically proven, okay? And it's been historically proven around here, quite frankly, because we've had so much change, that nothing really gets the fan base energized, at least for an initial phase. It doesn't mean it's going to last for a year, 2 years. It might last for 6 months, 3 months. But usually a coaching change sparks an energy boost. That's kind of proven in sports and in the NFL, and I think even here in Jacksonville. The other part of that is the franchise QB. Whether it's Gabbert, whether it's Bortles, and now whether it's potentially Trevor Lawrence. So, yes, to answer your question, no. I don't think they go to see Urban Meyer coach on the sidelines. But I do think the attractive nature and, first, the polarizing part of Urban Meyer, and secondly, what he has done in his career, the resume, and the hope that, wow, that guy, what if he is Pete Carroll? That kind of stuff certainly infuses energy into a fan base. I can feel it, man. I mean, I feel like the buzz the last few days is less about Trevor Lawrence and more about Urban Meyer. Now, it's a bit more polarizing, but, yeah, I certainly believe that a guy like Urban Meyer does infuse energy into a fan base.
No, I mean, I understand that. I think Trevor Lawrence can bring that energy by himself. I think people are going to be buying the Trevor Lawrence jerseys. You're going to have the signs. Like, in terms of, fans running around somebody, Trevor Lawrence is going to be that guy. Now, I get it. Like, Urban Meyer can put him over the top. He's the hot topic right now. He's trending on Twitter, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I want the coach that is best going to fit Shad Khan's vision, because now we've heard Shad Khan say, like, it's all about him being more hands-on, having the goal and getting the coaches and everybody that are going to fit that mold and fit that goal. If that's the case, then the last thing I'm worried about right now, if I'm an owner of a franchise, is, well, hopefully we can sell more tickets and get people energized. Not to say that Urban Meyer's not a qualified coach, because guess what? Everywhere he's been, he's won. But I just hope that if Urban Meyer does come in and interview, it's not so much of the hype factor and, hey, let's sell tickets. It's from the standpoint of, this guy is going to give us the best chance to win going forward.
All right, let's stay on this topic then. I was going to go and kind of look at a bunch of the candidates, but we got all show to do that, all week to do that, or whatever to do that. Let's stay on Urban Meyer right now for a moment. I think you bring up a good point. And I think what's interesting about that is I think we get caught up sometimes in the simplicity of, oh, that guy's going to sell tickets. That's all they care about is selling tickets. And there's two things why we in Jacksonville get caught up with that. One, because we do have a complex about people talking about Jags and the city, and it's not big enough NFL town, and tarps on the stadium, and all those things. And everybody's always criticizing Jacksonville about tickets. So people right away say, oh, what do the national guys say? Urban Meyer will sell tickets. He'll put butts in the seats. That's one reason. I think that's stupid. I think that's a dumb reason. Winning will put butts in the seats. But there is a lure to a high-profile name. And it's kind of like the Tebow stuff back, when. It's like, you're not going to just bring Tebow in just to be part of a circus that's going to sell tickets. The hope was, could he be a good quarterback and the fact that he's popular so he could sell tickets? Well, it's the same thing with a coach. Urban Meyer right now. Urban Meyer, he's going to create a buzz. He's going to be polarizing. He's probably going to get the ticket office going a little bit. Probably get sponsorship up. He probably gets people paying attention to the Jags, not only here, but all around the country. But you're bringing him in because the guy's like 132-20 in his coaching career. He's been National Coach of the Year, Coach of the Decade, 3-time national champ. That's why you're bringing him in, because you think he can win at this level too. So I think there's a little bit – I don't think we can confuse the two. I think the idea is, okay, listen, maybe you can get Brian Daboll. Right? And Brian Daboll might be the next big thing. Might be Sean McVay, might be Kyle Shanahan, might be the next big thing in the NFL. But he's not selling tickets. He'll give you a little boost because, like, hey, look what he did with Josh Allen. New coach, new energy. Our offense might be good. He'll definitely bring that buzz. But he's not getting people probably like billboards of Brian Daboll and look at this guy. Urban Meyer brings that. And not many guys can bring that, Austin. But he brings that. But the hope is whether it's Daboll, who's kind of a little bit more under the radar, or if it's Urban Meyer, who's definitely not under the radar, they both do the same thing.
No,
they win.
Exactly, and that's the main point that I'm trying to make here. I mean, you mentioned Daboll here in Buffalo. Listen, you may not see a lot of billboards with him as an offensive coordinator, but you do see billboards of Josh Allen. You do see billboards of Stephon Diggs. So with that being said, he has a direct influence on that. I don't need the coach that everyone's clamoring around saying, hey, let's get a picture with this guy. I don't need that. All I need is a coach that can bring a winning mentality, a winning culture, and have success on the field. The rest will take care of itself.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Urban – what are your thoughts on Urban now that Doug Marrone's out? Urban Meyer, still the rumors are heavy. And just what do you think of the idea of it? Do you think he can do those things? You know, obviously I've been referring to my article that I put out, and I go down that list of 7 things with identity, communication, who's the boss, bold move, quarterback, first round. I think he checks a lot of the boxes, quite frankly. I don't think he checks all because I don't know how he's going to do with getting first-round draft picks. But I do think he'll be a great cultivator of talent and be able to keep guys that even might have different personalities. I think it would be a bold move to pick him. I think his communication is probably very good because he's been very successful. I think we know who the boss was, and the identity of an offensive team with Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence would probably exist in Jacksonville. So I think he does check a lot of those boxes. But some of the things in terms of culture and things you just mentioned, where do you see Urban Meyer relating to the NFL in that capacity?
Yeah, listen, when we talk about coaches coming out of college and going to the pros, who comes to mind? Obviously, recently now it's Matt Rule, right? In the past, it's been Pete Carroll. And Pete Carroll's had a lot of success. Matt Rule seems to be on his way to having success. But for every Matt Rule and for every Pete Carroll, you got guys like Nick Saban, right? You got guys like Spurrier. Those didn't work out so well. So to answer your question, I guess we're going to answer the question with a question of my own. What do I look for in a head coach? What do the Jacksonville Jaguars need right now, in my opinion, to be successful going forward with all the draft cap that they have at their hands and, most importantly, the first pick of the draft? Number one, I think they need to start from scratch and establish the goals and the culture. And I think Urban Meyer can actually do that. I think no matter where Urban Meyer's been, he's been a winner. Now, one can say, well, he's had some rough around the edges types of guys. He's had some guys get in trouble. I get that. But guess what? Those guys exist in the NFL as well. Now, I'm not saying to the extent, of an Aaron Hernandez, obviously, and players like that, but there are rough around the edges guys, and it takes all types to be successful in this league. So I do like the fact that he knows what winning feels like. Second thing I'm looking for out of a coach, and we've kind of broke this down before with your list and everything, but the ability to adapt and put his players in the position to win. And this one is the big question mark for me, because going from a college program where you're essentially babysitting guys, right, where you're essentially raising young men, well, now that changes to the pro style where it's like you got a bunch of grown-ass individuals and you got to be careful, especially nowadays, of how you talk to them and how you go about your business. I'd like to think that Urban Meyer has done his research. He has the ability to adapt and maybe change up his style just a little bit from the college scene to the pro scene. So to answer your question, I'm very intrigued by Urban Meyer. I think he would be a pretty damn good hire, maybe the best possible candidate.
Here's what I kind of like about the Urban Meyer idea. I think there's a certain sexiness to it. You know what I mean? There's just like that buzz around it. There's like, holy cow. I mean, seriously, Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence. If I'm Mark Lamping and anybody selling tickets and selling sponsorship, heck, if we're around here, I'm like, hey, everybody talking about the Jags. I mean, that's fun. That's fun. I don't care whatever happens. I don't care what you say. It's at least fun. I think Urban Meyer just wins. I mean, he just wins. Like, you can't give me evidence where he hasn't. And again, it's a fair question. Does it translate? Certainly a fair question. And then we've talked about this before. We didn't necessarily talk about it just about Urban Meyer. But does this place need a culture builder? Well, where do culture builders usually come from? I think a lot of times in college. I think you build that culture in college. You are tasked with that. It's part of your responsibility. You don't always have to do that. You eventually do that in your NFL job, especially if you're successful. But I take a place like Pittsburgh, man. Like, Mike Tomlin has certainly done a great job continuing that culture. I wouldn't say Mike Tomlin built that culture. Now, sure, he's got his own twists and turns and personality to it, and now that he's been there quite a while. But kind of Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh, and you got to keep that up, and then, again, you add your flavor to it. So I think there's a little bit of a different nuance there in the NFL versus the college game. But this place, fair enough to say, needs a new culture, needs a culture builder. I mean, heck, Houston today, Deshaun Watson even said something similar about Houston, and they've had more success than the Jacksonville Jaguars. So it is evident in the NFL that teams do need like an overhaul. They need what I call a compass. Like, who is that guy in charge? And I just think Urban Meyer would fit that maybe better than any candidate. Doesn't mean it would be ultimate success. but I do think he would fit that part of it.
The only caveat to that, and I get what you're saying here, but the only caveat to that is the fact that would Urban Meyer's culture from college translate to the NFL? Because I can give you an example this year of the Washington football team, okay? That team was it was a mess last year, right? So, I mean, maybe worse than the Jacksonville Jaguars in terms of bad optics, players being disgruntled. Obviously, ownership and leadership was a mess. They bring in Ron Rivera, a guy who has a lot of ties to the NFL, who's been in the NFL for a long time, played in the NFL in the 85 Bears. He brings his culture into it and turns the team around. Oh, and by the way, the dude had cancer, number one, and number two, his starting quarterback, the last was a quarterback who's probably not supposed to be playing right now with a bum knee. So I think with what guys like Ron Rivera have been able to do in terms of culture should be celebrated. Now, once again, with Urban Meyer, does the college culture translate to the pros? I think Urban Meyer, if the Jacksonville Jaguars do get him, and we're sitting here 3 or 4 years later, and we're talking about this, it's going to be the ultimate boom or bust play. This could it could go swimmingly, and it could be perfect, or 2 or 3 years later, we're saying, man, what was that? That's, I think, where we're at right now.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. You know what I think of when I think of this Urban Meyer talk? I think of Calais Campbell's sack dance. I think he's swinging for the fences here.
Yeah.
And by the way, I appreciate a level of that. I do. I think this could be unbelievable. It could be. He might be one of the great coaches in football. Doesn't matter any level. Pop Warner, college, NFL. Any level. I mean, look at the resume. He might be that guy. But I think your questions are fair. And I think people's questions are fair. And I don't think people love Urban Meyer. But I think if he wins, they certainly would learn to. That's for sure.
And listen, I don't need a best friend as a coach, whether I'm covering somebody or if I'm a player. I don't need a best friend. What I need is someone that's going to set their team up for success and win football games more than anything. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing in your resume is how many wins do you have and how many losses do you have. And right now, if you look at Urban Meyer's resume, there's a lot of wins on that thing.
Sure are. Hey, I'm fired up, man. It's Monday. It's the new year. It's Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Doug Marrone fired. Who's next? What are the other candidates? Shad Khan talked to the media today. Had some interesting thoughts. This is going to be on Shad Khan to find the next regime. How much confidence do you have in him? What has he learned? And what did he say about who he's looking for? That's coming up. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Happy Monday. Happy New Year. Jags offseason is underway.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Today will be really nice, just a tad cool, especially this afternoon, topping out at 62 degrees with sunny skies. Mostly clear and cold overnight tonight with temperatures dropping to around 41 degrees. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Alyssa Pedjig.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where you get the lowest diamond price guaranteed or your money back.
Hi, it's Phil with the Phil Aiken Home Team at Keller Williams. When it comes time to sell your home, put me and the Aiken Home Team to work for you. Here's why. Over the years, I've perfected the home selling system, putting the most money possible in your pocket. With my exclusive list of buyers in waiting, I may already have your buyer. And with thousands of buyers, I'm likely to create more demand and higher sales prices. I'll even guarantee to sell your home at a price agreeable to you, or I'll buy it myself. Don't just take it from me. Let me introduce actual clients, Lynn and Craig. Tell us about your home selling experience.
We were immediately at ease. We had a great deal of confidence that any questions we had or anything that we needed to learn about the process was going to be handled in an expert and professional way.
We sold our home in just 2 days for $3,500 more than list price. Anyone who wants to sell needs to call Phil Aiken Home Team.
Thanks for sharing. The number to call is 904-500-PHIL. That's 904-500-7445. Or visit philhasthebuyers.com.
We should always be looking at our finances, but 2020 made my family take an even closer look, a bit more of a deeper dive, and it might have done the same for you, even into the world of retirement. Although that's a bit down the road for me, it might be closer for you, and your plan should already be under a microscope, and you have to lean on the experts to help guide the right plan. My friend Mike Lester with Talent Wealth Management is the perfect partner. He will provide a complimentary analysis and a plan for you. Call him at 904-515-5000 or visit guardingyournestegg.com. That's 904 515-5000 or guardingyournestegg.com. Mike will give you the guidance you need as retirement gets closer. He can help you convert company plans to private plans, a move that might give you higher returns and more options. You've earned the money. Now make sure you are ready for whenever retirement will be. Call Mike Lester at Talon Wealth Management, 904-515-5000. That's 904-515-5000. Or visit guardingyournestegg.com.
In the know, I'm Smith Arau. As the coronavirus pandemic continues throughout the fall and winter, overlapping with flu season, Dr. Eduardo Sanchez, American Heart Association Chief Medical Officer for Prevention, says that getting a flu vaccine is more important than ever.
The flu is serious and can even cause death. If you get the flu right now, you may need to be hospitalized in an already overwhelmed healthcare system. Get your flu shot and stay out of the hospital due to the flu.
It is important for everyone to get a flu vaccine, but especially important for seniors, children, pregnant women, and people with underlying risk factors such as heart disease, stroke, and diabetes.
The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and you can get it at places that are taking extra safety measures like your doctor's office, pharmacy, or even community pop-up centers. As with COVID-19, wearing a mask, washing your hands often, and social distancing helps to prevent the spread of the flu.
For more, go to heart.org/flu prevention.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
My community means everything to me. That's why I joined the Army National Guard. I'm proud of where I'm from, and as a soldier, I get to give back to the people that helped me succeed. The training and leadership skills I get from the Army National Guard help me every day when I teach young people and look out for my community. If you'd like to learn how you too can serve part-time in the community you love, visit nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida Army National Guard, aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
The United States has the highest rate of incarceration in the world. At the Equal Justice Initiative, we believe mass incarceration has to end. There is this presumption of dangerousness and guilt that gets assigned to Black and brown people. We have to confront our history of racial injustice and commit to a new era of truth. There's something better waiting for us, something that feels more like freedom. Truth can inspire change. Please learn more at EJI.org.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from Action Sports Jackson, ESPN 690. Social distancing doesn't mean disconnecting. If you're working from home, keep tabs on the world of sports and Action Sports Jacks on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
Then I said, still looking for his fourth career sack.
Austin Lane.
I'm spending pretty much every single day with somebody for pretty much 2 years now that you know somebody. And they surprise you. I sit here before you right now, and I am surprised.
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
I think, obviously you want the harmony and you want, the mission, the goal that we're here to win. So I think for me, somebody, a proven leader who understands not only the basics of football, the blocking and tackling, but more importantly, the modern football. Some of the things, the new footballs, but more importantly, handling the 21st century athlete at the same time. So the old and the new, I think, are absolutely vital. And then being able to attract really the right staff. I think that is a key element that you're only as good as the people you surround yourself to. So who they can attract and really the approach is going to be very, very important for us.
That is Jaguars owner Shad Khan earlier today addressing the media after firing Doug Marrone, and now the search is on for a GM and a head coach, and the offseason is on. We'll get into this a little bit later, but I think there's no doubt the Jags are taking quarterback at number one. Shad Khan kind of saying that. Didn't say Trevor Lawrence, but definitely said quarterback, which is nobody's surprise. I mean, it's I think that is okay. It's almost refreshing to hear him say that because there's nothing to hide there. We'll get into that conversation a little bit later and, of course, for the next few months. But you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. I'm surrounded by Austin Lane and Justin Kuzert. You can kind of take that for what it is. I mean,
you're at home right now, so what is that saying?
Yeah, obviously somebody I surrounded myself with that wasn't very good.
There you go.
That's what that says.
Yeah.
We won't name names. But it's very interesting to hear what Shad Khan just said there. He has done this before with Mike Mularkey, Gus Bradley. I say Tom Coughlin because he really put him in control. And then once again with Doug Marrone this past year when he stuck with Doug after firing Tom. So from a head coaching standpoint, 4 different experiences, or at least from leaders in the building standpoint, 4 different experiences.
Yeah.
He said right there, if you want to bullet point what he just said, and I was trying to do it on my hands, make sure I get all these points. Proven leader. That's interesting right off the bat. Because, again, I will go, okay, Urban Meyer is a proven leader. But is Arthur Smith? Is Brian Daboll? Even Robert Saleh? I would say, yeah, they're in leadership positions. But he's talking about leader. So I think it's fair to wonder, does he stay away from somebody that might be an up-and-comer? Now, I will say this. In the same news conference, he did say, look, if you look at – I'm not going to eliminate anybody. If you look at some people that are some of the top names in coaching right now and some of the hot names in coaching right now, we didn't even know their name 4 years ago. So I don't want this to sound like I'm eliminating the assistant coach or the coordinator. I'm not. But I just think if you listen to what he's looking for in a coach, which is what he was asked and what he answered, said proven leader. Now, you can characterize that a couple of different ways. He also said a guy that knows football, who's been around football. Obviously, the blocking and tackling I call fundamentals of the old school football. But he wants innovation. What's going to take you into the next 3 to 5 years in the NFL? Where's it going to go? Do you add 2 guys that look like Kyle Pitts into your offense? I don't know what it is. It's just, where's the direction of the league going? We think it's pass happy. We think it's mobile quarterback. Okay, we want this next guy to be innovative. So that's interesting. And obviously Urban Meyer was very innovative with his offense back when he went to the Gators coming out of Utah and bringing the spread to college football the way it was played for a long time and continuously is played. He also said, relate to the modern player. And obviously that was a bit of a shot, Austin. I don't even know if it's a shot. It's just the reality that it didn't work out with Tom Coughlin. And so I've said this before, and again, I'm kind of relating it right now to the hot name in Meyer. I believe that if Urban Meyer was here the last few years, Jalen Ramsey, Yannick Ngakoue probably would still be here. And the reason I say that is I think he knows how to handle those guys. He knows how to handle personalities. It's the one thing he did have to do with all these 5 stars and personalities and brands that were in the college game at the Power 5 level of Florida and Ohio State. And, yes, you can say he let them get away with too much in Gainesville. I don't know if you would say the same about Ohio State, but he knows how to be around those kind of players and those guys. It didn't work with Coughlin and the latest regime handling those guys because they're not here anymore. So those were really the 4 bullet points that Shad Khan said. And I'm not saying that Urban Meyer is the only candidate. I just think it's interesting to go back to those 4 points when we're looking at other candidates and saying, okay, do they check that box?
Yeah, the biggest thing for me, obviously, is the leadership position because that can be kind of vague, right? Like, I consider Robert Saleh a leader. Like, when I see him shouting on the sidelines, getting his guys pumped up, that has all the characteristics of a leader. Now, the fact that he doesn't have the head coaching title quite yet, does that take away from it? In my opinion, no. So to me, when Shad Khan goes, he's looking for a guy that's in a, is in a leadership role, I take that as it could be a coordinator, maybe obviously an old college coach. It can fit a lot of things, let's just say. So I'm not going to rule out coordinators just because Shad Khan is quote unquote looking for a leader.
Yeah, what's interesting, okay, I'm going to give you a couple other names because we all know the names are out there, right? And this is not – I don't want you to interpret this like I'm reporting the Jags are interested in all these guys. I'm not saying that. I just think we have heard all these different names. And so if you take those 4 points of a proven leader, a guy that's familiar with football the way it should be played, but also is innovative enough to advance and change and adapt, and then a guy that can handle the modern-day athlete, well, it makes you – you look at the innovative guys and the modern-day athlete guys, well, that seems to be a younger offensive way. That could be the Daboll, the Arthur Smith, right?
Yeah.
I think even Saleh could fit, even though he's not an offensive guy. He's a younger guy. He's evolved that defense that he learned under Gus Bradley and Pete Carroll, and now he's brought different variations of that to San Francisco, as we've talked about quite a bit. So I think that's innovative in its own way. Doesn't have to be on the offensive side. We usually equate it with the offensive side. And so you have that pool of candidates. Then I go to like a guy like Jim Caldwell and Marvin Lewis. That's the proven leader, right, in the NFL. Proven experience, veteran experience. Old school football certainly gets. Do they know the new way? Are they innovative enough? Will they adapt? How are they with the modern day athlete? Now, I think they're okay with that because they've still been heavily involved in the game. And really, if you take a guy like Marvin Lewis, he's actually been in the college game. So that's a guy that certainly understands the young athlete. He's been around the young athlete for a couple of years. But I think it's fair to wonder, and the reason why is there's a little scar tissue here. Those guys are 62 and 65 years old. The last time we had that age group in here was Tom Coughlin, and look what happened.
Yeah, but listen, I mean, and I can go ahead and drum up a bunch of guys who are older who can relate to the modern athlete, right? I mean, listen, like Tom Coughlin, he's the old school outlier, right? I mean, he's the guy that stuck to his guns, and the second time around here in Jacksonville, it backfired. Simple as that. So if you're asking me, like, what the qualifications of, being the guy that can relate to the modern day NFL player, it's two things. It's literally two things. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what you look like. At the end of the day, it's two things. Can you win? Because winning cures everything. You saw when Tom Coughlin was here and they were winning. Like, yeah, maybe there's some problems behind the scenes, but players were happy. Now, players might have been miserable in training camp, but when you're winning ball games, that cures everything. Like, there's a reason why players still go to New England, even though, let's be honest, Bill Belichick, I'm sure, runs a hell of a training camp, and it's probably not the most fun to be a part of, but players still gravitate towards that because they want to win. Now, maybe they're on the back nine of that. We'll see what happens there. The second thing, when a player asks you why, you have to answer the question. Why are we running things this way? Why are we doing this kind of drill? Why are we out here in the 100-degree heat? If you can answer the question why, and you can kind of communicate that why so they understand, well, then there you go. You're on your way to being able to coach a modern era NFL player. Simple as that. Win, and when they ask you why, you answer them, and then you obviously be clear about that answer.
That's very well said. And by the way, the millennial question is why, right? I mean, that is the question for the younger person. They want to know that why. And so I think that's a very well said, and it's not just pertains to sports, by the way. It pertains to business and everything else. And by the way, I don't want to sound like I'm ruling out the old coach. In fact, I tweeted over the weekend, and I'll tell you why in a little bit, but Marvin Lewis to me makes a lot of sense in Jacksonville. And I'll expand on that a little bit more going forward. But, I mean, I'm not saying they can't be. I'm just trying to see who fills those buckets that Shad Khan is talking about. Let's talk a little bit more about Shad Khan, because we're going to hear a lot of what he said this morning. Mm-hmm. But you just heard what he had to say about what he's looking for. He's pulling the trigger on this. Are you comfortable with that? He has obviously had help or did it himself with Malarkey, with Gus, with Dave Caldwell, with Tom Coughlin, with Doug Marrone. It doesn't sound like he's using a search committee from what he said this morning. He basically said he'll lean on some people, but it's going to be on him. Mm-hmm. He said, you're looking at him. The guy that is going to – he's taking ownership of this. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about his increased role when it comes to the roster stuff a little bit later on. That's a little bit more involved. But this is his call. Yeah. And he wasn't afraid to say it's his call. Is there concern about that because they haven't got it right yet in 9 years?
I mean, there has to be. How could there not be concern, right? Because, listen, I'm not sure what kind of mind Shad Khan has for the game of football. I'm not sure how in tune he is with it. I'm not sure how much he can talk about it. Just because all I have to go off of is what I see during press conferences, is what I see during interviews. And I'll be honest, it's not that much. So when it comes down to the X's and O's and the culture building and things like that, I don't know how in tuned Shad Khan is. But I will say this. You can't just get in front of a podium and say, well, we're going to find a guy that has a winning culture. Guess what? This is the NFL. Yeah, of course you're going to find a guy that has a winning culture. Like that's like me at the Combine, I remember, when I interviewed with the Pittsburgh Steelers, a scout. And he said, what are you going to bring to a team? And I said, I'm going to work 100% every single day. And the guy goes, Yeah, no kidding. You're going to be in the NFL. Give me something that I can use, or we'll see you later. Like, that's exactly what he said. And I mean, obviously, I had the 100%. I'm going to be coachable. We hear that all the time. So if you're Shad Khan, yeah, of course we want the winning culture. That's the name of the game. But if I'm questioning Shad Khan right now, and I'm saying, what is going into the process of you selecting the next GM, of you selecting the next head coach? Couple things. What did you learn from the past, right? The past is prologue. You've had to take away something from all those miserable years and put it to your advantage. So what did you learn? What is your goal, and what are your core values here? Because you have to align your core values with the next guys coming in. Now, what your core values are, I have no idea. I know you want to win, but it has to be more in-depth than that. Hopefully he knows that. And then finally, the communication standpoint, which we always talk about. You have to find someone that you can communicate with and that you're going to get along with, obviously. Not maybe necessarily get along with, but obviously you have to have conversations. And if you see something that doesn't vibe with you, you have to address that. Those are 3 things right now that if you're Shad Khan, hopefully you're taking into consideration, and hopefully you're asking the next candidates.
I understand people's angst on this because he hasn't been able to get it right. But I also think this is a clear indication that Shad has a view of what he wants. And so for him to say that publicly today, by the way, for him to talk publicly today is a bit unusual right after firing Marrone. Like, sometimes it takes a couple weeks for him to talk about the last time when he brought him back. He didn't talk for I think 3 weeks. It was just a statement only. So I thought it was interesting that he brought it up. I think there's this view that Shad is so busy and he's jet setting and he's in other places and he's got a lot of things going on. All true things. I also think there's this view that he's sitting on his kismet and not paying attention to what's going on. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I've talked to Bill Cowher up in New York before, who said Shad's talked to him about what he should do, gaining some knowledge. We know he's talked to Belichick and Kraft and those guys about, hey, what would you advise? He's leaned on the Patriots and their people in the past. I think he's got to have so many friends around the league now over 9 years. And then it's his own personal experience of what he's learned, enough that don't we kind of, after all the misses, feel like, hey, I know what I would look for. You don't have to know what play you'd call on 3rd and 8 to necessarily make the hire. I think there's a little bit too much put into that. I do think you have to lean on football people, though. And so I think he's got enough built-in knowledge now. I think he's done a lot of homework. I know he's talked to guys like Maurice Jones-Drew, former players, Calais Campbell. He interviews players. So, again, I'm not saying they're making the call. I'm not saying that's enough. But I think he's getting it from all facets and putting this vision together. And I think that's why he feels probably comfortable, like, I know what I want. Now let me go get what I want, and we'll see if it works. When we come back, we talk a little bit more about Shad Khan, of course. He continued to make other statements today that were interesting. And what are some of the other potential candidates? Anybody get you fired up? Who do you want to see? Open phone lines, of course, 904-362-9901. We'll be back. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Unfiltered. Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mahente.
But you're a New York fan, if you're a Jet fan, you're also worried about maybe even if we do surround Sam Darnold with the right skill sets or the right players, maybe this is who Sam Darnold is. Maybe he never blossoms out of this. It takes a really strong personality to bear out of that and say, that's not who I am. Maybe this is who Sam Darnold is.
Keyshawn, Jay Will, and Zubin. Weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio, your smart speaker, or on ESPN News.
Hi, it's Brian Kilmeade for Phil Aiken Home Team Keller Williams Realty. I'm talking with Greg and Gary about their recent home sale. Why did you call Phil Aiken?
We called Phil Aiken because we had heard that his team will sell your house quickly and for more money than any of the other realtors in town.
Tell us what happened.
Phil Aiken and his A-team, they will make the process very easy. Sold in 4 days and got over asking price.
Well, that's great. So how did you think they were able to sell it so fast?
Because Phil has the buyers and they have the team that can get the job done quickly and stress-free.
What would you tell a friend who is looking for a real estate agent to sell their home?
Would I recommend Phil Aiken and the A-team? Absolutely.
Well, the results speak for themselves, right? Phil Aiken and his team have the systems and will even guarantee to sell your home in writing or buy it himself.
Yes, we got better results than we expected.
Thanks, Gary. Friends, hire the agent with the buyers looking to buy a home right now. Call Phil Aiken. Call 500-PHIL. That's 500-PHIL, or visit philhasthebuyers.com.
Boss, have you heard the latest about the ding-dong doorbell cameras?
What, more employees spying on customers?
Nope.
Hackers again?
No, boss, this time they had to recall over 350,000 video doorbells.
Recall? What happened?
A bunch of them caught fire.
Whoa, unbelievable. It's one thing after another with them.
Yeah. Notice you never hear that with Safe Touch's video cameras?
Well, now you're just comparing a Bentley with a bumper car.
Exactly. I just don't understand why any homeowner wouldn't go with Safe Touch.
Yeah, their video monitoring's virtually hack-proof. Oh, and here's a bonus. Safe Touch cameras don't burst into flames.
No kidding.
It's just a good thing not everyone knows about Safe Touch, because we gotta stick to the Crooks or Us golden rule. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Yeah, don't gotta tell me twice.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
It's the final days of Toyotathon going on now at Arlington Toyota. Get to Arlington now and score low lease offers that'll have you in a new Toyota today. During the final days of Toyotathon at Arlington, lease a new 2020 Camry LE for a low $162 a month, or lease a new 2021 Tacoma SR5 Double Cab V6 for just $249 a month. Don't wait, it's the final days of Toyotathon at Arlington Toyota. Shop safely in person at 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/Toyotathon for full details. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and school just isn't for you, earn while you learn by enrolling in the Clara White Mission Workforce Training, designed for 16 to 24-year-olds and no experience necessary. National certifications include culinary arts, OSHA, HAZWOPER, forklifting, environmental training, and more. These programs are customized for low income and disadvantaged. Make your way to the Clara White Mission Training Center at 613 West Ashley Street. Call 904-354-4162 or visit clarawhitemission.org.
Slip and falls can be embarrassing, leaving you in pain and feeling like you've lost control. I'm Eli Anajar from the law offices of Anajar and Levine. After a fall, document the scene by taking photographs and make sure to get medical attention for any injuries you may have. If you've been injured in a slip and fall accident, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation. And take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Do you have a passion for sales? Are you known for building strong relationships? Do you love to compete and win? CMG Jacksonville is searching for a talented individual to join our family as a media consultant. This position will require a committed person who will forge great relationships with Jacksonville's business leaders and develop profitable campaigns for advertisers. If your talents are a match, email your resume to jaxjobs@cmg.com. That's JAXJOBS@cmg.com or call 245-8732.
You decided to upgrade your outdoor deck. So you ordered the essentials: a power washer, a set of patio chairs, and a shiny new grill. And you use your Bank of America Cash Rewards credit card, choosing to earn 3% cash back on online shopping and up to 5.25% as a Preferred Rewards member, which you put towards your most essential deck addition, a bird feeder. Apply for yours at bankofamerica.com/more-rewarding. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
You know, I sat with Doug for 2 hours after the Bears game to really, you know, one of the things or concerns I've had, I mean, we've had 6 starting quarterbacks over the last 3 years. And it's very clear that obviously, you know, that's been something sorely missing, how we would develop them and, you know, what is the criteria on that. You know, we haven't had a job till this morning in opening, so it's, you know, it would be pointless to talk about interviewing, let alone, you know, seriously considering something.
That is owner Shad Khan. Those comments kind of tied in with the Urban Meyer conversation. It was a piggyback on an Urban Meyer question, but also brought up about the quarterbacks. Wow, I mean, 6 different starting quarterbacks in 3 years. You know, even with Blake Bortles playing for 5 years in Jacksonville, Shad Khan said, which he's right, we just haven't developed a franchise quarterback. And so that is going to be another important piece of this. No doubt for Shad Khan, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane coos along. Happy New Year. It's a Monday. It's the beginning of the offseason for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They finish a franchise worst 1-15. That is an afterthought. Doug Marrone fired this morning. Now the search is on for a new head coach, GM, and, of course, that number one pick, plenty of draft capital, plenty of money await over March and April when the Jaguars start to make even more moves to add to the roster. The latest report, Austin, is Arthur Smith has been, or the Jaguars requested an interview with Arthur Smith. In fact, all 6 teams that have openings requested Arthur Smith. I would say that's a hot name on the market right now. What he's been able to do with Ryan Tannehill, what he's been able to do with the Titans, and, of course, Derrick Henry. And you see A.J. Brown having a big year now. Corey Davis had his best year. There's a lot of love right now for 2 coordinators especially. Brian Daboll, we'll get into him in a bit, for Buffalo, and also Arthur Smith, who is in Tennessee, and he's been with Tennessee for quite some time now, but go all the way back to North Carolina as a grad assistant. He was with the Redskins, actually on the defensive side of the football with Ole Miss, then with the Titans again as a defensive quality control coach, and then he shifted over to the offensive side, quality control, tight ends, and now offensive coordinator. This is a guy that's young. He's 38 years old. Does Arthur Smith do anything for you?
Man, the classic argument with Arthur Smith is the fact that, listen, you have Derrick Henry. You better run a pretty good offense. Now, the fact that Ryan Tannehill is playing the best football of his life, the fact that Ryan Tannehill could be in consideration for maybe a top 6 NFL quarterback right now in the entire league, you like that. You like that a lot. You like the fact that they go after A.J. Brown, and he's one of the best receivers now in the league. Like, there is a lot to like about Arthur Smith. As far as, like, in my opinion, does it really, like, drive the point home? Does it, like, is that, like, the game-changing, outside-the-box thinking move? I don't think so.
Yeah, here's my and I don't know if this is fair or not, okay? But I don't know a lot of these guys either. I mean, we're just looking at numbers, and we're all kind of guessing. But I was told by a couple of people over the weekend, just trying to do some background work on any of these guys, and people really high on Arthur Smith. So what does that mean? Again, I don't really know, other than I see what he's done with the Titans. And you talk innovative, you talk a way to utilize weapons that you have, a brand of football that the Titans have. I think that's very positive when it comes to Arthur Smith. I also think, he's been in the Titans organization now that's kind of been up and down, and now certainly, well, let's just say down in the early part when he was there and now up. And so he's seen some things and seen how to turn it around and see what works. And I kind of like that. Mike Vrabel and Tennessee have it cooking right now. No doubt about it. And there's a lot of momentum. So I like that about Arthur Smith. I'll just say this from the outside looking in. When you're talking about names like Urban Meyer or even a Marvin Lewis, or I believe Robert Saleh is this guy too, and maybe it's blind faith, but I do believe he's that. I'm looking at what I'm sorry, I'm going to overuse this, but I say the compass of the organization being the head coach. I just don't know if I see that with Daboll and Arthur Smith as much. And maybe that's because they're kind of behind the scenes under McDermott and obviously Vrabel. So that's probably unfair. But I would ask that question. Can they be that guy in my organization,
Well, and here's the thing coming full circle as well. A big reason why Arthur Smith got the gig at offensive coordinator when Matt LaFleur left is because Mike Mularkey, of all people, phoned Vrabel and said, hey, I like this Arthur Smith guy. Take a look at him. And the rest is history. So how's that coming full circle?
It's pretty full circle.
There you go.
Endorsed by Mike Mularkey. His dad, of course, is Fred Smith, FedEx. I jokingly say, if you're bringing Arthur Smith here, have Dad put at least some part of the Fortune 500 headquarters down here in Jacksonville.
Let's go.
There was rumors a long time ago that Wayne Weaver was going to sell the team to Fred Smith of FedEx. I mean, that was kind of the rumor a long time ago. I think that went, and obviously that didn't materialize. So that in itself is an interesting tie to Arthur Smith, like you just brought up the Mike Mularkey tie as well. All right, we got more of this to come. 4 o'clock hour on the way. Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. What does Vegas say about the odds to land the next head coach? Where does Urban Meyer fit in that? Where does Arthur Smith fit in that? What about some of the other candidates? It's next here on ESPN 690.
Hi, it's Phil with the Phil Aiken Home Team at Keller Williams. When it comes time to sell your home, put me and the Aiken Home Team to work for you. Here's why. Over the years, I've perfected the home selling system, putting the most money possible in your pocket. With my exclusive list of buyers in waiting, I may already have your buyer. And With thousands of buyers, I'm likely to create more demand and higher sales prices. I'll even guarantee to sell your home at a price agreeable to you, or I'll buy it myself. Don't just take it from me. Let me introduce actual clients, Lynn and Craig. Tell us about your home selling experience.
We were immediately at ease. We had a great deal of confidence that any questions we had or anything that we needed to learn about the process was going to be handled in an expert and professional way.
We sold our home in just 2 days for $3,500 more than list price. Anyone who wants to sell needs to call Phil Aiken Home Team.
Thanks for sharing. The number to call is 904-500-PHIL. That's 904-500-7445. Or visit philhasthebuyers.com.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Committed to helping keep your facility safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Action News Jack's Tanika Hughes, and what great things about living in Jacksonville is our diverse communities. It's so important that the local stories we cover in our newscasts reflect the people who live here. That's why we've launched Action News Jack's Gets Real, to get real on issues like racism, housing challenges, and unequal access to health care. It's having difficult conversations, as well as celebrating people making a difference. This is Action News Jack's Gets Real. Real talk, real change.
Spay or neuter your pet. Help them live a longer, happy life. First Coast No More Homeless Pets has free and low-cost programs available now. Make your appointment today. Call 425-0005, 425-0005, or fcnmhp.org.
The hardest part of any goal is oftentimes getting started. All month long, we're going to help you get started on the path for a happier you for free. To hear from our experts and check out upcoming shows from personal health to your home's health, visit GetStartedJax.com.
It's, oh my God, the NBA, it almost is sacrosanct.
I mean, people are on the ground ripping open testing kits.
We all have it. It's no way we all don't have it.
You knew that the direction of the entire 2020 year for the whole world just took a massive turn.
30 for 30 podcast presents March 11th, 2020. Available now, wherever you get your podcasts.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. On this day after the 2020 NFL regular season ended, two more teams decided to make coaching changes. Anthony Lynn, heavily criticized for some of his decisions this season, fired after 4 years with the Chargers. And the Jags fired coach Doug Marrone. Team owner Shad Khan said he'll take a larger role as Jacksonville looks to hire a new coach and GM. Khan also said he will maintain roster control. Browns defensive end Olivier Vernon's season is over. He ruptured his Achilles yesterday and needs surgery. The Browns play their first playoff game in 18 years Saturday night against the Steelers. The matchup is a fantastic one, says Monday night analyst Louis Riddick.
How cool is that for Cleveland
to go into into your big brother stadium and see if you can figure out a way to beat them, because they are one of the most well-coached teams in the NFL. I love Mike Tomlin to death, and I love this rivalry, and I couldn't be happier. Could not be happier for Browns fans.
Louis Riddick on Greeny with Mike Greenberg. This year's entire NCAA men's basketball tournament will be held in Indianapolis and surrounding areas with a bubble-like format.
Any time of the day is Baconator time. Baconate in the AM with the Wendy's Breakfast Baconator. Yep, all the bacon you crave with a fresh cracked egg. Try one this AM free with any breakfast purchase offer in the app. There's never been a better reason to bring on the bacon. Always be baconating.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
I certainly think there's a huge amount of interest. It's much more so than the last time around. I also look at really, we're in a much different and I would say a better position today than we were a year ago. A little over a year ago, as you well know, and I think you reported, we did have team disharmony and, we were, to use the word, salary cap hell. I think today, I frankly thought we would do better in the season. We won 6 games last year and, certainly we have a lot of salary cap availability along with the draft picks and obviously the number one pick. What's evaded the history of the Jags really has been a franchise quarterback, and I think what's unique certainly is that we have the ability now to make a choice, and it's going to define the franchise moving forward.
That is Shad Khan, Jaguars owner. A lot to digest right there. And we will talk more about all these candidates and also Shad Khan's role in the organization. I want to get to that. That's very interesting. We're just talking about Arthur Smith, who the Jaguars reportedly, according to Adam Schefter, and every other team with an opening, all 6 teams have requested Arthur Smith for an interview. So ESPN has this very cool thing, and Kuz shared it with us, that basically you can flip around and you can match the coach with the team, and they give it a grade and then say what it is. So Arthur Smith, for instance, Arthur Smith to the Jets is a C+, but Arthur Smith to the Jags is an A-, according to ESPN. Obviously they have a little story. And here's the biggest strength, they say, of Arthur Smith. Balanced attack. Smith's creative play design does an excellent job getting every playmaker involved. The Titans are run-heavy but feature a threatening and efficient passing game. Smith would be great for a team that wants to develop a balanced and physical offense. Is that what the Jags want to be with Trevor Lawrence and potentially whoever on the offensive side? Physical, balanced offense, Dawson?
That would be probably the ideal situation when you have a young quarterback and you have a guy like James Robinson where, listen, if you're a rookie quarterback in the NFL, you need balance. You need to play complementary football in terms of passing and running. But at the same time, when I see guys like, Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson now, listen, they're not necessarily the most balanced of offenses, right? It all revolves around the quarterback. So, for instance, Arthur Smith, in my opinion, he's the balance guy. He's all right, let's bring Trevor Lawrence along, right? Let's slowly ease him into it. Daboll, on the other hand, in Buffalo would be it's Trevor Lawrence. Let's give him tools. Let's, get him maybe a big free agent wide receiver, and then let's build around him, and let's let him air the ball out a little bit. Both ways can work well. It depends what your forte is.
Yeah, and so let's just talk about a couple of the candidates real quick. There's Arthur Smith, Brian Daboll. If I say that, and Eric Bieniemy, I'm going to stick with the offensive guys right now because there's a lot of sense in the offensive guy. And by the way, Urban Meyer is considered an offensive guy. I'm going to leave Urban out of this for now. We'll have more lengthy discussions than we already have about Urban. But Bieniemy is a hot name. And, you start to think about all those things that Shad Khan said, proven leader, the old school football with the new school football, innovative relationship to the current player. Boy, I feel like Bieniemy might start to cross off a lot of those lists. I guess proven leader would be a bit of a question mark. You have to dig a little deeper on that.
Yeah.
But Bieniemy's a hot name, man, and it does come with a little bit of okay, is that just Kansas City? Is that Andy Reid? But the Andy Reid tree has been very successful. So I don't mind the Bieniemy play at all. That would excite me. I think the guy is creative. I think he sees what good is. You're not going to have that offense. I understand that. That doesn't mean you can't have a good offense without the KC offense.
No, without a doubt. Listen, if we're going to go the offensive coordinator route, and then we're talking about exciting hires or hires that fans should be all about, to me, like, when we talk about offensive coordinators, like, yeah, you got to call the plays, right? You got to have the personnel. But the most important thing that you can have, in my opinion, when you're going from an offensive coordinator to a head coach is that quarterback relationship. Now, I get it right now. Doug Peterson is on very, very thin ice there in Philadelphia. But when he won a Super Bowl back in 2017, everybody praised the fact that, well, you know, he's a former quarterback himself. He knows how the quarterback position works. And that's why I think a lot of offensive coordinators that become head coaches are successful when they can work with that quarterback. Sean McVay, big quarterback guy. Andy Reid, obviously a big quarterback guy himself. So if I'm going to coax an offensive coordinator to come to my team and be the head coach, I still want that quarterback offensive coordinator type relationship.
Yeah, okay, so I give you Brian Daboll, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have you keep talking about the offensive coordinators and some of these other candidates that might fit that role, Daboll included, who's done an excellent job in Buffalo. They might be the hottest team out there right now. Yeah. I mean, that guy's – and by the way, you talk about a guy who wins. Count all the rings. I know he's with the Patriots for a while, but also won another one with Alabama. I feel good about that guy winning because he's won everywhere he's been. But talk a little bit more about it. I got to go do a little TV for the next couple months, and I'll come back and join you. But take away the offensive coordinators, including Brian Daboll, who's a hot name, and a lot of people like that name in Buffalo.
Listen, I think Brian Daboll, next to Bieniemy, is probably the most intriguing guy you can go after because, at least in my eyes, he's exciting. Now, if you hear a press conference, things like that, maybe he's a little more, just kind of monotone, doesn't get you that excited. But from my standpoint, what he's been able to do with Josh Allen, it should be celebrated, right? Because the Buffalo Bills, for the longest time, they were known for this run-first type of, win in the trenches type of offense, a lot like the Tennessee Titans were back in the day. And Daboll comes in, they get Josh Allen, and all of a sudden it's not so much running the football with guys like, I think they had, they got Zach Moss this year, but now it's about passing the football. It's about the quarterback position. It's about the most important position on the field. And what I love, and I've said this a million times on the show, what I'm looking for in a coach, whether it's a coordinator, whether it's a position coach or a head coach, is the ability to adapt. I don't think anybody has as big, of a resume in terms of adaptability than Brian Daboll, right? Because he takes a Sean McDermott style of culture and what Sean McDermott believes in, and he says, hey, I understand. You want to pound the rock, you want to run the football, but we got something special here, man, in Josh Allen. All he needs is more time to develop, and he needs more weapons. So what do they do this year? They go ahead and get Stephon Diggs. Now, at the time, what was Stephon Diggs? Everyone's talking about he's a problem in Minnesota. He could be a distraction. The Buffalo Bills sacrificed a first-round pick to get Stephon Diggs. And how'd that work out for everybody? I believe he leads the league in receptions right now, so it's working just damn fine for the Buffalo Bills. That's the type of out-of-box thinking. That's the type of quarterback-friendly coaching that I want here in Jacksonville. Because you have maybe a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity in Trevor Lawrence. And yes, we're going to break down his last collegiate game more than likely, in an hour or so and what we thought about that. But right now, Trevor Lawrence, hands down, the number one quarterback in this draft. And you have a chance to get him. I like the fact that you bring in Brian Daboll as a head coach and you have a new quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, and it could be a match made in heaven. But it doesn't stop there as well. Like I talked about adaptability. Yes, he has that. But he's been in cultures where he's won, or where they have won, I should say. He's been under Nick Saban. He's seen how that culture works. He's been under Bill Belichick. He's been in New England. So he's been in two great places that have won a lot of football games. So he's ingrained himself in that. So that intrigues me as well. And then last but not least, in terms of personality, I think Stephon Diggs said it the best. He doesn't want to see Daboll go. He wants him to stay in Buffalo because he feels like Daboll was the reason why he had a resurgence in his career in Stephon Diggs. That's all you got to hear right there. A player who had a rough time with Mike Zimmer, a player who had a rough time in Minnesota, was kind of the bad apple of the group, let's just say. And let's be honest, might not even been the best receiver of that group next to Adam Thielen. Goes to Buffalo and gets elevated in an offense that is catered to him, obviously, and Josh Allen. That's coaching, man. That's what you're supposed to get excited about. And I think Daboll can give that to you. So we'll see what happens there. I guess there's a rumor saying that he's going to visit the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll see. Daboll is intriguing, though. Eric Bieniemy, it's funny because last year, Eric Bieniemy seemed like the biggest name as an offensive coordinator. And this year, while he's still big, I feel like it's kind of trickled out a little bit as the next head coach. Like, yeah, he's still getting interviewed. Teams are still intrigued. But everyone was talking about Bieniemy last year because they won a Super Bowl. He goes back to work, and now it's like, whoa, Urban Meyer. Whoa, we got Brian Daboll. Whoa, we got Arthur Smith. And now all of a sudden, he's maybe playing second fiddle a little bit. I think Bieniemy would be a great choice. Because once again, it's that quarterback relationship, right? It's, are you maximizing the talent at the quarterback position? Now, obviously, Andy Reid has a big influence in Kansas City. It's not just Bieniemy, but let's be honest. Bieniemy has a big say as an offensive coordinator of what gets called and what goes on. So I think Bieniemy, once again, coming from an Andy Reid coaching tree. And by the way, look up Andy Reid's coaching tree sometime and see how that pans out for everybody. Like we always talk about on the show a little bit when we talk about, the Bill Belichick coaching tree, the Matt Patricias, the Bill O'Briens, we'll see what the Brian Flores is now. Like that can be, it can be a little shoddy. But when we talk about an Andy Reid coaching tree, I don't know. We got guys like John Harbaugh, guys like Doug Peterson, guys like Ron Rivera, Sean McDermott, Brad Childress, Matt Nagy, not Todd Bowles. Not a bad laundry list of names in terms of the coaching realm.
All right, good stuff with all the candidate talk. Once again, the latest is the request for Arthur Smith, Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator, has been put in by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Get used to those reports coming out. I want to shift gears and talk a little bit more about Shad Khan. And Kuz, I'm sorry I didn't warn you about this, but if you can find the soundbite today from Shad where he's talking about having roster control, we can hear that in maybe a few minutes. But we'll get the conversation started anyway. And, Austin, this was very interesting. And you have to put it in full context. At first, when the answer came, and he was asked about something that led to this, I can't even remember the question. But he basically said, you guys might not know this, but when Tom Coughlin was let go, I assumed roster control. So what he meant by that was Doug and Dave reported to him. But when we sit here roster control, like, holy cow, he's like making transactions, he's doing this and that. It's like, whoa. Now, he later clarified that to be more like everything runs through him.
Yeah.
Now, wait a minute, Austin, though. That's interesting. Before we go forward with that concept, because I think there's some interesting things there, I want to go backward. I guess I didn't realize that the owner wouldn't know some of the moves that were taking place. That basically indicated to me that Tom Coughlin, who, by the way, had the say in football operations, and Shad Khan put him in that position. But it sounds like some of those moves that were made didn't go by the owner. Like, I thought that would have to take place. Like, I guess I just assumed that would take place. I understood Tom was making the decision, but at the very least, you'd say, hey, Shad, I'm going to do this or that. It didn't sound like that. It sounds like, at times, Shad Khan learned about some of these decisions after they had been made. Now, those could have been little decisions, big decisions, we don't know. But that's the indication I got from what Shad Khan was saying with Tom Coughlin in charge. And, boy, we've wondered about communication for a long time. Holy cats, man. That seems a bit off, does it to you? Or am I over-dramatizing?
No. If anything, you're underselling it a little bit. That's absolutely insane. Because, listen, if you're the owner of a football team in this National Football League, like, you may not be the most knowledgeable in terms of the X's and O's and things, but you still have to be aware of what's going on. Like, I understand. If you're a billionaire, that's one thing. But when we're talking about transactions of millions and millions of dollars, like, wouldn't you want to know that? And then more importantly, because I assume you're trying to win a Super Bowl here, I assume that you're trying to gain revenue and be viable. Well, you be viable by winning. So if you're trying to win football games, you have to know what's going on your roster. It's as simple as that. So the fact that, the owner of a team, the billionaire of the team that is the head honcho, the main guy, didn't have a clue or an inkling that some players are getting traded, some players are getting let go. That's baffling to me.
Yeah, and again, it's really hard to put in context exactly which moves were made. I don't know if every owner knows about every transaction, but it just made it seem like there were some significant moves that were made by Tom Coughlin that it wasn't like, hey, Shad, just to let you know we're going to do this and this is why. You know, you talk about the why question. We know Shad Khan talked to those guys on a weekly basis, sometimes on a daily basis. I think it's a little bit misleading at times, this whole like absentee owner thing. I don't really believe in that, but the hands-off part of this, certainly this addresses that. So it's hard to, maybe there's a book that comes out someday and we find out what moves were made. But that red flagged me big time, man. That was like, I get it. Like, I get the fact that Tom was in charge of football operations, and you trust him because he's a football guy with a ton of experience. And that's the way that position was set up. I don't think there was any misleading in that. I think if you listen to when that was announced, what went on, I mean, Tom was in charge. But like I say, with Mark Lamping is in charge of business, and we know that. I do believe almost everything, at least I believe and I assume that almost everything that gets brought up from a business standpoint crosses over to Shad Khan's desk at some point. This was alarming to me, and maybe it's a more common practice in the NFL than I believe. Maybe I'm led to believe.
No, I mean, listen, I don't think it's it shouldn't be a common practice. Like, if I'm an owner of an NFL team and the goal is to win, then you better keep me up to date with how we're trying to win. Okay, when you, and once again, we don't know what kind of transactions we're talking about. Like, obviously, I'm sure you knew about Jalen Ramsey and Yannick Ngakoue and all those guys. But even the most minuscule of transactions, I need to know about, right? Like, I mean, if I'm going to spend my time and my energy and, you know, put my name on something, well, then you better believe I'm going to be there when stuff goes down. Simple as that.
So then there's another part of this that I think of when he said that. And again, I don't think basically what Shad Khan said is when Tom Coughlin, and he said this when he released Tom Coughlin, he said Dave Caldwell and Doug Marrone will report to me. And that's fair enough. I mean, that made sense, right? Now you're not reporting necessarily to Tom, and Tom was reporting to Shad. It's now, okay, you guys are reporting directly to me. And to add to that and spin it forward, that's the way it's going to be. The head coach and GM will report to Shad Khan. That's the structure they now want. They're not going to have another vice president of football operations. And so I don't want this to be seen as, hey, they need a kicker this week, and so Shad is making the moves. He clarified that later to basically say, hey, trades and moves and big moves were running through me. That's what the roster control means in his estimation. That's what he was saying. But to that end, I always had this view, and you can be different here, but I had this view that Doug Marrone and Dave Caldwell came back last year in part because they sold what I think Shad Khan wanted to hear, and that is Gardner Minshew, we're going to give him a shot. I think Shad Khan, again, this is my belief, that Shad Khan, I think he liked that idea. Well, my belief was that Dave Caldwell and Doug Marrone were basically saying, hey, we believe that too. And what's interesting is I'm not sure that was the case. Now, in hindsight and hearing that he had the control, maybe it was Shad Khan that basically said, hey, guys, welcome back for another year, but Gardner Minshew's the guy. And that's the way it's going to be. I mean, is that unfair interpretation?
No, that's not an unfair interpretation, but I just have a hard, like, to me, like, when he said that, like, what I pictured is, listen, before Shad Khan put all his trust in Tom Coughlin, so Tom Coughlin had the final say. Now, whether Shad Khan got an email over transactions, whether he didn't even know, regardless of that, it was Tom Coughlin's call. When Tom Coughlin was gone, I think that, you know, people like Doug Marrone and Dave Caldwell, they still had a say of, obviously, the transactions. And I don't think, like, Shad Khan was really pushing the buttons, like, all right, we got to go up there. No, that's not the case at all. I think they just had to run things by him. So when that meeting was transpiring, when Doug Marrone and Dave Caldwell last year were fighting for their jobs, I think they said, hey, we have a guy in Gardner Minshew. We think he could be special going forward. We want to give the guy another shot. I think Shad Khan okayed that. I don't think it was Shad Khan's idea to go with Gardner Minshew. Now, maybe it was. You know, I mean, maybe we'll never know until the book comes out. But once again, I don't know how much NFL knowledge Shad Khan has. And I think if the main goal is to try to win football games, then you're going to let your roster decisions be up to your head coach and your GM more than yourself. Not to say that you can't okay on things, you can't have the final say, but you start to put, you know, faith in football people. And last year, Doug Marrone and Dave Caldwell were those football people.
Yeah, and I'm just saying from my vantage point, I kind of believe I wouldn't be stunned in this instance because, again, they didn't. As you looked into 2020, I think if you go look at the Minshew move, I think if you looked at the unloading of Foles and then eventually Jan and even a Calais and Boye and that kind of flip, that pivot that we wondered about from January where it was like, we think we can win. And I do believe genuinely that Shad Khan said, hey, I think Minshew did some good things. Let's believe in this guy. Let's see if we can clean this up a bit. But I think we can win. Like, I don't think he didn't think that. I think he had some confidence and was hopeful that Marrone and Caldwell could pull it off. But I guess if you look at the entirety of all those moves now, I feel like obviously Shad Khan said they were going through him. So it feels like, I'm not saying he was the idea guy in all those moves, but he certainly signed off on those moves since Tom Coughlin left. And I guess he was heavily involved in creating that pivot in the organization. Right or wrong. And now going forward, Austin, do you see, I think people are missing one important part of what Shad said today on that front. He said, in the immediate future, I'm going to maintain roster control. Well, the immediate future could be 7 days. You know, if Urban Meyer comes in here or Marvin Lewis comes in here or name your guy comes in here, he could relinquish that to the next guy in. I don't view this as a negative thing for a potential GM candidate, head coach candidate. I think if that guy's got the right stuff to have full control, certainly he'll have full control. If not, he'll do what a lot of other people probably have to do and report to the owner and say, hey, this is my plan and this is what I'm thinking.
Well, yeah, I mean, isn't this how the NFL works? Like, if you're an owner, you have the final say. Like, this is your money. So while the GM's going to be like, hey, we're going to trade for so-and-so. We're going to draft so-and-so. We're going to let go of so-and-so. Yeah, that's their decision, but you still have to run it by the owner of a football team. I feel like every team in the NFL works like that.
Yeah, I think so, too. I'm just telling you that I'm getting some responses that say, let's see, I think I just got one. I'll try to read it. I can't find it. But that basically question whether, that makes it less of a good job for somebody coming in because they'll have to, listen to Shad Khan and he's got too much of a voice. And it seems like Jerry Jones. I guess that's the best way to say it. I don't think Shad Khan's going into this like Jerry Jones. Fair enough?
Shad Khan's not a general manager.
Yeah.
So, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, I don't think we should confuse the words today with that. But I do really wonder now about some of the moves that were made in the last calendar year. And it still does boggle my mind that there must have been some moves made by Tom Coughlin that didn't get passed through the owner. Boy, it speaks to the communication in that organization. And it's something that needs to be fixed. No doubt about it. More to come here, of course, on the Jaguars. We'll get to Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. Did you lose any hope in Trevor? You have better appreciation for Justin Fields? Still a no-brainer, right? We'll talk about it on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Keeping sunny and quiet weather for the start of this week. Today, sunny and cooler with a high of 62, dropping to 41 tonight under mostly clear skies, then bouncing back to the lower 60s Tuesday with sunny skies and nice conditions. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Alyssa Pedjig.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, where you get the lowest diamond price guaranteed or your money back.
Happy holidays from the team at CGC Water. This holiday season, our gift to you is clean drinking water. A Kinetico system from CGC Water removes up to 99% of contaminants. That's clean. Right now, CGC Water is offering a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier Softener like the one we have at our home. If you're still not filtering your water, you are the filter. Schedule your free water test today and get peace of mind knowing your family's water is safe water. CGC is still taking extra precautions with in-home visits and continuing to follow CDC guidelines. Remember now, this is a limited time offer. A free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier Softener. Special holiday financing available for a limited time with approved credit. Call 904-552-1242 for details or visit cgcwater.com. CGCWaterTreatment.com. Serving Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia, CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer. Have a happy and safe holiday season.
Boss, hit the gas! What's going on? You were supposed to check to see if that house had anyone home. Now their porch is on fire.
Boss, I didn't do it. The ding-dong doorbell camera just burst into flames and started melting.
Oh, so it's true. Those things are fire hazards.
Yeah, and now we know another big difference between those cheap ding-dong doorbell cameras and a SafeTouch security system.
Well, yeah, with SafeTouch, homeowners don't have to worry about their video cameras getting hacked.
Or employees spying on customers.
Or bursting into flames.
Uh-oh, fire department's coming, boss. Time to go.
I'm way ahead of you. By the way, your eyebrows are completely gone.
Oh, well, maybe it's an improvement.
Just so I know you still got your senses, recite the Crooks R Us golden rule again.
Stay away from SafeTouch houses. Don't worry, it's burned into my brain.
Crooks know to stay away from SafeTouch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of SafeTouch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call SafeTouch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Hey, know when the best time to buy Christmas lights or artificial Christmas trees is? December 26th. Off-season rates are for real. It's the same for air conditioners. Believe it or not, January isn't a hotbed month for air conditioner sales. Because no one's AC is breaking down in this weather. So why am I telling you all this? Because I've already done all the extensive technical and customer service training for my AC techs. I hire the best and train them even better. That's why they can fix what others can't. And part of my promise to them is a steady 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. And right now, they ain't busy. I'm paying them like I promised, but I'd sure rather be sending them out on install jobs. So if your system's older or you'd like to upgrade it, now's the time. By mid to late February, we'll be busy again, scheduling and running spring tune-ups for all our loyal Club Griffin members. But now's the time for a deal. So ring us at
griffinservice.com.
License number 1250697. We should always be looking at our finances, but 2020 made my family take an even closer look, a bit more of a deeper dive, and it might have done the same for you, even into the world of retirement. Although that's a bit down the road for me, it might be closer for you, and your plan should already be under a microscope, and you have to lean on the experts to help guide the right plan. My friend Mike Lester with Talon Wealth Management is the perfect partner. He will provide a complimentary analysis and a plan for you. Call him at 904-515-5000 or visit guardingyournestegg.com. That's 904-515-5000 or guardingyournestegg.com. Mike will give you the guidance you need as retirement gets closer. He can help you convert company plans to private plans, a move that might give you higher returns and more options. You've earned the money. Now make sure you are ready for whenever retirement will be. Call Mike Lester at Talon Wealth Management, 904-515-5000. That's 904-515-5000 or visit guardingyournestegg.com.
Nothing is certain except death and taxes. And your appliance is breaking down as soon as they're out of warranty. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we can't help with the first two, but we've got the third one covered. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have been repairing appliances for more than 35 years, with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. For quality repair at a price that's fair, trust Atlantic Coast Appliance. AtlanticCoastAppliance.com. That's AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Smart speakers are becoming part of everyday life, so why not use it to listen to the radio? Tell Alexa, Google Home, or any other speaker to play ESPN 690. Give it a shot weekday afternoons from 3 to 6.
Brent Martineau.
How many push-ups did you do in 3 minutes? Did you try the challenge?
Austin Lane.
I don't need lactic acid build-up when I'm in fight camp. Brent, you kidding me? Take my word for it. I've more than you.
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
I think, we have a great group of young players. Obviously, we're going to have an elite franchise quarterback. You can't have a mindset, well, this is a rebuild and it's going to take time, etc. I mean, we have to have a mindset we're building for the long haul, but you have to be able to win at the same time.
Well, that's always that delicate balance. I mean, you don't want to sit there and say, hey, yeah, we'll win in a couple of years. And I do think the Jags are capable of winning. I don't think they'll be capable of winning big in 2021, but I think capable of winning for sure, and not being this kind of team that will get one win or a 4-win team. I think with the quarterback and the moves and the money and the right decisions, they could be a team that I mean, jumps from 1 win to 7 or 8 wins. I mean, and I don't know if you can ask much more than that right now. I mean, I know you'd like to. There was that huge turnaround from San Francisco, remember, 3-13 to the Super Bowl. I mean, let's not go crazy. I mean, I do own the Sunshine and Rainbows Club, Austin Lane.
Yeah, you do.
But not that club.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not go crazy. So, but what was fascinating about that is Shad Khan saying what we all know. They're taking a quarterback at number 1.
Yeah.
Right? It's plain as day. So I kind of appreciated that. I thought that was pretty good that he was willing to say that. Hey, one other thing before we get to the quarterbacks, just to go back on our conversation about control. Do you look at what he said today as almost a positive thing? Because I don't know where you stand on the absentee or hands off, but it seems like with him saying today, hey, this is going to be my decision. I'm making the decision. I'm not leaning on other people to make the decision, a search group or whatever. I want to be responsible for this decision, and I want to be responsible for the moves that get made, at least stamping them and saying, hey, no, I don't like that, or yes, I like that. And then you can put that on me because I had final approval. Again, this isn't going to be him building the roster. But when you make big moves, free agency, whatever it might be, and it's a bust, now we can kind of go back to, hey, Shad, you said that was okay. Right? I mean, is that a good thing?
No, listen, I mean, I think a grudge that this fan base has with this team here in Jacksonville the past, really 3 or 4 years is the fact that the owner has kind of felt like an absentee kind of guy. Now, let's be honest. Most owners in the NFL, they're absentee. You don't really ever hear from them unless it's the beginning of the season or the end of the season, or if it's like a big move being made in terms of a transaction. But when you start having a lot of losses season after season and things look really bad, well, people want an explanation, right? And people want to go to the top and say, well, what's going on here? And that's where the owner comes in. So I think now with Shad Khan taking a little more responsibility and saying, hey, I had the final say in everything, that's how it should have been. I'm glad it's that way now. And I think that's the right thing to do, and I think it kind of keeps fans a little more informed, especially when things aren't going so well.
Yeah, I think it's an interpretation thing. Again, that roster stuff kind of threw everybody off. It's like, oh, my gosh, he's making all these moves? No, it's more I'll be held accountable. I think, and I'm not saying he's shied away from accountability, but in an organization where, again, we've beefed about this before, is who is held accountable? Who do I blame for drafting Leonard Fournette instead of Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson? If I ask one guy, he'll blame it on the other guy. If I ask that guy, he'll put it on the other guy. Who was it? I want to be able to answer that. And right now, if they draft Trevor Lawrence and Trevor Lawrence isn't the guy, there's going to be on a lot of people that did that. And by the way, I don't think anybody could really complain. But we can go back and be like, hey, you signed off on that, Shad Khan. You said you met with Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. They gave you all the information on what this guy was and the positive and how he matched up with your coach, and you signed off on it. So at least you can say that. And I think that is important to be. I'm not looking to blame anybody. I just think it's an accountability thing. And in an organization, in a business, and anything else, you want accountability. But I got to know who to hold accountable. I think the fans would like to know who to hold accountable. And I think that streamlines the communication in your building a lot better. And that has not been there. We said it. It has not been there for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I view that as Shad Khan noticing that. So I actually give him props for that being, if this is viewed as more involved, so be it. I don't think it's a turnoff thing for Shad Khan. Let's ask about the quarterback. Is it simply Trevor Lawrence still? Did you lose any faith in Trevor Lawrence over the weekend? By the way, he did not have a miserable performance. He was hit on almost every play. Clemson had a miserable performance. Ohio State was really good up front, and that changed because they hadn't been great on defense. And Justin Fields was remarkable in that football game. We obviously had the discussion that night and all through the weekend. You saw the back and forth. This doesn't do anything for me, man. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is the guy. It's still Trevor Town around here. How about for you? Do you have any second thoughts coming off that performance?
No, absolutely not. I mean, the combination of size, speed, arm talent, moxie, Trevor Lawrence is that guy. So it did absolutely nothing for me. Props to Justin Fields. Had a hell of a game. Got banged up in the ribs a little bit. Probably went there at halftime, got a little Toradol shot, right in the good parts, right in that sweet spot, right in the honey hole. Obviously, you didn't use the Chargers guy. Props to Ohio State for not doing that. Fields had a great day, but it's still Trevor Town. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, I think so, too. And by the way, I think it's fair to say, and I was high on Justin Fields before, and I'll admittedly say, I don't want to be hypocritical here, those two games, and it wasn't the one game. Remember, Indiana, I didn't back off.
Yeah.
But the Northwestern game, the piggyback of that, and it was more the look, it's just he didn't look comfortable. He didn't look confident.
Oh, yeah, man, I saw it. Like, you were sliding in Zach Wilson's DMs.
I was sliding into Zach Wilson. I was looking at tape on Zach Wilson. And remember, at that time, I wasn't even thinking Trevor Lawrence because I just thought the Jets were going to lose out and no chance. Well, then obviously our attention shifts. But my point in this is, and this isn't just that if you're keeping score or anything, I just said I have believed that Justin Fields is going to be a good NFL quarterback. I do believe it. I believe, by the way, I think Zach Wilson has a really good – I think this is going to be a good quarterback class.
Yeah.
I believe that. I think there will be some better than the others. And for my money, if I was making a pick, I still think Trevor Lawrence, for me, is going to be a better quarterback in the NFL. He's the guy that I would pick number one overall. But I think this was great news for the Jets, perhaps, because Justin Fields played great. He rebounded. I still think he's got some great leadership and the throws and the ability to run and obviously toughness and all those other things. And by the way, he's not flawless. We know that. And neither is Trevor Lawrence.
No.
So I like both of these guys. I really do. I think they're going to be good quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't sit here and say I think they're going to be Hall of Famers. I think that's ridiculous to say. But like I've always said, I think Trevor Lawrence's floor is higher than even the floor of Justin Fields. So at very worst, I believe Trevor Lawrence is going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. We hope he's great, but I think he's going to be good. He checks all those boxes. I think he still made some nice throws and made some nice plays. I just don't think he had time. The thing coming out of that game is, hey, he's going to have to do better with pressure. It's not going to be a clean pocket. I understand that. He's going to have to do some things. Like, he is not a flawless prospect, but he is a pretty damn good prospect. And I guarantee you, if he had the pocket Justin Fields had the other night, he would have put on one hell of a show as well.
No, listen, I mean, you can make excuses. Obviously, the Clemson offensive line didn't block that well. They really got to Trevor Lawrence a lot. Trevor's got to hang on to the ball a little bit. Like, listen, you can go, back and forth here about why Fields had the better game than Lawrence did. But at the end of the day, I've seen Justin Fields bad, and I've seen Trevor Lawrence's bad. And in terms of bad, Fields' bad has been a lot worse than Trevor Lawrence's. Now, what does that mean? All I'm trying to get to the point is, listen, I don't care if you're a Josh Allen type. I don't care if you're Sam Darnold. Like, you're going to have the ups and downs in college, right? And it's the NFL coaches, it's the quarterback coach, it's the offensive coordinator to groom that player to reach their full potential. I'm just seeing in terms of, like you said, Brent, like a baseline, like a floor. Like, Trevor Lawrence, like, he's above everybody else by so much because I've seen the bad, and guess what? It really wasn't that bad. So if I've seen the bad and it looks okay, well, imagine what the good's going to look like when he gets his hands on an NFL offense, when he gets his hands on NFL coaches. It's going to be great.
By the way, there was a knock against Lawrence and said, hey, look what he's done in big games, okay, and look at the competition. And people want to point to last year's national title game where, by the way, he was off in that game. Like, it looked at it. Even if the numbers weren't completely off, and I believe they actually kind of were, he didn't look great. Like, I didn't see that on Friday night. I thought he still looked good. I thought, like, when he throws it, man, he throws it. That arm strength shows. He spins it every time. He made a nice throw off his back foot. He runs. I think he ran too much in that game, but he was under duress. And again, that doesn't make him a flawless prospect, but I still think he's pretty darn good. And so I did the numbers because what I went back to, first of all, I don't know if anybody in the history of the game will have this kind of big game experience coming out of college. I mean, what this guy's done with the last 3 college football playoffs he's been in, and I added like the ACC title game a couple years, and I also added a game in 2019 against North Carolina. And the reason I added that is because they won 21-20, so it was a real tight game. So how did he play in a game that was low scoring and tight? Long story short, he's had some games where it was like, oh, okay, like that national title game against LSU. He was 18 for 37. That's less than 50. That's 48%. Completion percentage. Didn't throw any picks. Had 234 yards. So he did not play well. Fair enough. But if you look at the numbers overall, 7-2, some 2,500 yards passing in those 9 games that I brought up, 16 touchdowns, 2 picks, 81 carries, which I believe, again, is a little much. It feels like he runs a lot more and the bigger the game gets, which is weird, but feels like he does. And he ran for 6 touchdowns. So overall, 22 touchdowns, 2 picks, 7 wins, and 2 losses in those big games. I mean, that doesn't say everything. Numbers can be a little bit misleading, but My point is, if you're going to bring up big games, this guy has the biggest sample size of big games maybe in the history of college football to be a prospect coming out in the NFL. And if you have more of a sample, you have more of a chance to not have your greatest game sometimes against that best competition. I think this is pretty darn good, 7-2. By the way, in that regard, like the Patriots and Tom Brady, they lost a few Super Bowls along the way too. Remember?
No, without a doubt. Hey, everyone has those bad games. And by the way, let me go and take a little sip of water real quick. To all those haters out there that want to hate on the Big Ten and say Ohio State should have made the playoff, whoops.
Yeah, I mean, that was a performance that really stunned me by Ohio State, though. Did it stun you, or did we just give Clemson too much credit? I didn't know about Clemson's defense, but I didn't expect their offensive line to get whooped like that. And obviously, in college football especially, and I think in all sports, motivation is a big factor. And there's no doubt there was a lot of motivation for Ohio State. Coming off bad performances by Justin Fields, coming off a 29-23 game last year. That extra intangible certainly was Ohio State, but they look darn good, man.
Well, they look great. And by the way, probably the biggest motivation of all was the fact that Daboll Sweeney ranked them at, number 11?
Yes.
Yes. You don't think that number 11 was hanging up in locker rooms everywhere? You don't think that number 11 was talked about during the pregame speech? You saw a tough, hungry Big Ten team and the Ohio State Buckeyes. Good for them. Did I see it happening like that? Absolutely not. I thought that Trevor Lawrence was going to have the better game than Justin Fields. I thought Fields rattled the Big Ten championship, but give that kid props, man. He made a lot of money for himself. I think, during that game. So I didn't see it happening, but obviously when you have a solid run game coupled with a solid pass game, complimentary football, baby, complimentary football.
Hey, let me ask you one more thing on this front for now. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot about Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields for the next few months, but there's this thought process because Urban Meyer came from Ohio State, even though he didn't coach Justin Fields, but there's a relationship between him and Ohio State, and he knows him well, that man, if Urban Meyer's the coach, look how he's probably going to take Justin Fields. Or even now these reports about Day being the coach, that he would take Justin Fields. I don't feel that at all. I've seen Urban Meyer say that he thinks Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback out there. Does that concern you at all, I guess? Say Urban Meyer did get the gig. Would you start to wonder then if, hey, maybe he thinks Fields is a better guy, he's more comfortable with him, he knows more about him?
No, listen. Yes. The league is all about connections and who you know. But if you mean to tell me that Urban Meyer is going to take Justin Fields because Justin Fields played at a university that Urban Meyer used to coach at? No. Urban Meyer, if he comes to Jacksonville, is taking Trevor Lawrence. Let's stop spending our energy on crazy things.
Very much agreed. We'll get into the Urban Meyer stuff. What's the latest coming up in the 5 o'clock hour for sure. But more on what's next for the Jacksonville Jaguars, some more candidates. And we do put a bow on this season. Whew, thank goodness it's over. How miserable was it? But why do we feel so good around here in Jacksonville?
Well, you feel great. My son asked me for the last time yesterday, did the Jaguars lose again? Yes, son, they did. Oh. When is Green Bay going to play? Don't worry about Green Bay right now.
Whoa.
Don't worry about Green Bay right now.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, he's on the fence, Brent. I'm trying to keep him off it.
Don't do it, Ronan. Don't do it.
Plus, my wife's got 5 Clay Matthews jerseys still hanging up in the closet.
Oh, come on. Buy him a 16 Jags jersey now. Do it. Buy it.
It ain't going to be a Juwan Taylor jersey, tell you that right now. No disrespect to Juwan Taylor, but my son's not going to be rocking offensive line jersey for his first NFL jersey.
More Jags right after this. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Hey everyone, this is Brett Martineau from Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Hope you catch the show Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 10 different platforms. But if you missed the show, you missed this.
The Jags have 2 opt-outs. How big are these losses in your opinion?
Laurenti McCray is different to me. This is a guy who's going on his 7th season here in the NFL. If you have the honor to wear the C in that locker room, it means that you're a leader. You have some sort of influence on that team.
Subscribe to the podcast and check the show out on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Get the podcast daily. All you have to do is search ESPN 690 in your podcast app.
Nothing is certain except death and taxes. And your appliances breaking down as soon as they're out of warranty. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we can't help with the first 2, but we've got the third one covered. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have been repairing appliances for more than 35 years, with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. For quality repair at a price that's fair, trust Atlantic Coast Appliance. AtlanticCoastAppliance.com. That's AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Happy holidays from the team at CGC Water. This holiday season, our gift to you is clean drinking water. A Kinetico system from CGC Water removes up to 99% of contaminants. That's clean. Right now, CGC Water is offering a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier softener like the one we have at our home. If you're still not filtering your water, you are the filter. Schedule your free water test today and get peace of mind knowing your family's water is safe water. CGC is still taking extra precautions with in-home visits and continuing to follow CDC guidelines. Remember now, this is a limited time offer. A free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier softener. Special holiday financing available for a limited time with approved credit. Call 904-552-1242 for details or visit cgcwater.com. Serving Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia, CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Kinetico dealer. Have a happy and safe holiday season.
Dang it, Tom Casey.
A customer came up to me the other day to say she found herself saying exactly that.
Dang it, Tom Casey.
Because she walked into a friend's home with a Florida-rated AC system and could feel the difference. Now that's a good thing, but this particular customer had mixed feelings about replacing her not that old AC. On the one hand, she was excited about being way more comfortable in her own home. No more sticky humidity. Fortunately, she reached out and I offered her upgrade options that gave her the comfort she wanted without replacing her system or costing more than her budget. So if you've been wondering if that whole Florida rated thing I'm always talking about is for real, yeah, it is. And if you're interested in upgrading, now is the perfect time. Because I'll let you in on a little secret. As a premium service provider, I generally don't discount. But I'll certainly do a little pencil sharpening during the slow season for customers ready to upgrade to the Griffin service experience. If that's you, call me at
griffinservice.com.
License number 1250697.
I'm Alfreda Boney, founder and CEO of Perfectly Suited Career Consulting. I'm proud to be a Jax Chamber member and to serve on the advisory board of the Jacksonville Women's Business Center. The JWBC is innovating and adapting, embracing the digital transformation to serve more women in Northeast Florida. For example, we are launching the Network of Trust program that will mentor and vet female business owners, preparing them to take the next step as a company. For more information, visit JaxChamberFoundation.org.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
The hardest part of any goal is oftentimes getting started. All month long, we're going to help you get started on the path for a happier you for free. To hear from our experts and check out upcoming shows from personal health to your home's health, visit GetStartedJax.com.
Welcome to Jacksonville's Frisch Family Holocaust Memorial Gallery. It's a free educational resource with rotating exhibits. It's so important we remember. Jewish Family and Community Services. Here for remembrance. Here for Jax. Learn more at hereforjax.com.
Does it feel like finding clothes in your fit is impossible? Tired of feeling overwhelmed with options that just aren't right? Let the experts at Stitch Fix do the shopping for you. At Stitch Fix, we make sure each piece is hand-selected for your life. So whether you're staying home or on the go, Stitch Fix has the answer for what to wear. We make it easy to find what works for you. Signing up takes just a few minutes, and styles are delivered directly to your door. Get started today at StitchFix.com. Stitch Fix, your style delivered.
If you're usually listening to ESPN 690 in your car, but your boss has you working from home this week, well, take us with you. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from ESPN 690 and Action Sports. Jax, tell Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690, and enjoy all that sweet listening coverage.
What's going to stand out is his level of excellence on and off the field. I think it's his level of heart on and off the field. I think it's what he did for this university is what he did in trying to stand up for what's right. I think it's, he handled himself even as a freshman at such a high level on and off the field, and he just represented the game of college football. He represented himself, his family, his university so well, and I just thank him for doing it, and I appreciate that.
That is Tim Tebow talking about, I assume, Trevor Lawrence in that spot.
Oh, see, I thought it was Urban Meyer.
Oh, was that Urban?
No, I have no idea.
No, that was Tim.
Okay.
No, I know. Who was he talking about? Trevor?
He was talking about Trevor.
Oh, he was talking about Trevor.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what I
got
thought.
you.
Okay.
You don't say, Kuz.
Well, I didn't even think about Urban in that context until you brought it up. I was like, oh, you know what? He could have been talking about Urban.
Yeah.
Thanks. Hey, Kuz keeps us guessing sometimes. We got to be on our toes.
I like it.
And that's okay. Brett Martineau, Austin Lane, Kuz here on a Monday. Happy New Year. Listen, I'm going to say it over and over. It's a lot of fun. There's an energy in this town, and I don't mean that because Doug Marrone was fired. I think there's an appreciation about Doug Marrone. I think the fan base, actually, it's amazing that you can lose as much as Doug Marrone has lost over the last 3 years, and they really don't vilify him. You know, it's and I'm not saying they should. It doesn't usually happen in sports like that. So he leaves this so different. And again, we did an essay on this last night on the show on Primetime, Action Sports Jax Primetime. We're going to do it again tonight. We'll show it at 7 o'clock. And I also have one of the story on Gardner Minshew and where his career is headed tonight on Jags Report Live at 7 o'clock on Fox 30. But I just can't get over it, and I can't eloquently say it enough, how different Doug Marrone left the Buffalo Bills, albeit a different circumstance. And the reaction to that compared to how he's going to leave the Jacksonville Jaguars. The media just gave Doug Marrone the Good Guy Award. That usually goes to a player that's easy to deal with and is great with the media, and despite some of the trials and tribulations, guys like Bortles and Paul Posluszny and Calais Campbell have won it in the past. Well, for the first time, the media voted to give it to Doug Marrone. I mean, he was really good with the media. So, I don't know what that all means. I'm not surprised to see him fired. He should be fired, quite frankly, after what just went on the last few years. He has won 9 games and lost 35 games since October of 2018. He has won 9 games since 2018. After this thing was set and ready to roll, coming off an AFC championship and a 3-1 month in 2018. And I understand not all that's on him. From quarterback play to injuries to Jalen Ramsey saga to Tom Coughlin to you name it. He did a good job handling all that, but he didn't do a good job winning. And that's on the head coach, and after a while, you got to make a change. So I don't say it because of that, but I can't stop saying how fun these conversations are moving forward now. The Jags are positioned nicely, and it just feels different. I've done this enough over here in Jacksonville and in my career. This feels different. It feels like the fan base is so engaged with it, and it's pretty cool. Just retweeted a report that Robert Saleh has been requested to interview by the Jacksonville Jaguars. No surprise there, Austin. Why do I like Robert Saleh as a candidate for the Jags so much? Because I do. Like, I would be happy. Like, he would be – I would probably wrestle between a couple of guys. Take Urban Meyer right now out of the equation. But if you have the playing field that we thought it was before the Urban Meyer talk, he might be on the top of my list, man.
I think you like Robert Saleh a lot because if you were to tell me what is Robert Saleh's probably his biggest strength, his biggest characteristic, what do I see when I watch the 49ers defense? I see a passionate, relentless guy who shapes men. Let's put it like that. And I think when you have the youngest roster in the NFL and the Jacksonville Jaguars, you need a coach like that. So that's why I think you're intrigued by Robert Saleh. That's why you should be intrigued if you're not by Robert Saleh. And it's definitely a name that's being thrown on with a lot of teams right now in the NFL.
Yeah, I think, by the way, Robert Saleh, if you're looking at Vegas, they have Robert Saleh, the favorite to go to Detroit. They have Robert Saleh, the second favorite to go to Jacksonville, like plus 600, where Urban Meyer is minus 200 to go to Jacksonville. That's out of Vegas this afternoon. So if you look at this Robert Saleh and the ESPN thing that they have with the Jags, and this is kind of a cool thing. If you go check out ESPN.com, you can mix and match the candidate with the team, and they give you a grade. It says B+. He's 41 years old, worked his way up from a defensive assistant, learning many of the defensive principles under Seattle coach Pete Carroll. Leader of men, to your point.
Let's go.
Saleh's players love him for his detailed approach. I'm a big detail guy. I like that.
Okay, not bad.
But it's his willingness to gather feedback and evolve based on what he sees that has left multiple 49ers defenders calling him the most intelligent coach they have ever had. He has taken that Seattle concept, the Gus Bradley, Todd Wash scheme, and he has evolved it. To your point, you have mentioned it many a times, Austin. And I think the leader of men, although it sounds a little bit like, oh, he's a leader. I do see that with him. Like, I see what I said I had an issue seeing, and this is probably because I know them less, Arthur Smith and Daboll being kind of that figurehead of the organization. I have no problem seeing Robert Saleh as that guy.
No, without a doubt. Like, Robert Saleh to me, and I'm trying to, like, who would I compare him to right now in the NFL as a coach? And it's hard to put a finger on because of the intensity. Maybe like a younger Ron Rivera or somebody like that. You know, like that's kind of what I think of, like a defensive-minded type of dude. Regardless of that, though, like once again, if you're trying to fix this thing, build the foundation, and get the right guys in that locker room to be on the same page, then Robert Saleh is for you. Now, obviously, it goes against the grain a little bit because right now the hot trend, the hot topic is offensive coordinators, quarterback-friendly coaches. Well, Robert Saleh obviously on the other side of that ball.
Does it help him or hurt him in 5 seconds that he's been with the Jags before?
To me, it hurts.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, they've requested permission to interview him, so I love that. If they had gone by and not interviewed Robert Saleh in this cycle, I would have scratched my head. I'm glad they're doing that, and we'll see where it ends up with Robert Saleh. He'd have to bring a good offensive mind if they hired him. We'll be back. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Hi, it's Brian Kilmeade for Phil Aiken Home Team Keller Williams Realty. I'm talking with Greg and Gary about their recent home sale. Why did you call Phil Aiken?
We called Phil Aiken because we had heard that his team will sell your house quickly and for more money than any of the other realtors in town.
Tell us what happened.
Phil Aiken and his A team, they will make the process very easy. Sold in 4 days and got over asking price.
Well, that's great. So how did you think they were able to sell it so fast?
Because Phil has the buyers and they have the team that can get the job done quickly and stress-free.
What would you tell a friend who is looking for a real estate agent to sell their home?
Would I recommend Phil Aiken and the A team? Absolutely.
Well, the results speak for themselves, right? Phil Aiken and his team have the systems and will even guarantee to sell your home in writing or buy it himself.
Yes, we got better results than we expected.
Thanks, Gary. Friends, hire the agent with the buyers looking to buy a home right now. Call Phil Aiken. Call 500-PHIL. That's 500-PHIL, or visit philhasthebuyers.com.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dealing with battery problems? We can help you out and get you ready for the colder weather ahead. Let's start with a free battery test. If you just need a free charge, we can help with that too. And if it's time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination. Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2019.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Save thousands and pay up to 50% less MSRP during the New Year's clearance event going on now at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Pay up to 50% less and buy a pre-owned 2020 Corolla LE from just $11,881. Save on Camry and pay up to 50% less on a pre-owned 2020 Camry SE from just $17,291. How about a pre-owned 2020 RAV4 XLE from just $19,991? Pay up to 50% less at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned today. 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/New Year clearance for details.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Appliances may work on your schedule, but they quit on theirs. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we'll get your appliances back up and running in no time at all. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have repaired more than 100,000 appliances over the past 35 years, servicing Jacksonville to St. Augustine and Ponte Vedra with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor, plus a 100% satisfaction guarantee. When your appliances quit, we're ready to get started. For quality repair at a price that's fair, visit AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Season media availability did not definitively rule out trading quarterback Carson Wentz, but he said it's not anything they're talking about right now. Wentz reportedly plans to ask for a trade. Chargers and Jags, the latest teams with head coaching vacancies. Anthony Lynn harshly criticized for some decisions this season, fired by L.A. Doug Marrone dismissed by Jacksonville. There will be plenty of interest in that Jaguars job, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter.
They have the #1 overall pick. They have over $100 million in cap space. They've got 11 total picks. This becomes the #1 job out there, with all due respect to all the others, because it offers so much.
Jags owner Shad Khan said he will be taking a larger role in the organization. Third-ranked Villanova has paused all men's basketball activities because of COVID-19 issues within the program.
Any time of the day is Baconator time. Baconate in the AM with the Wendy's Breakfast Baconator. Yep, all the bacon you crave with a fresh cracked egg. Try one this AM free with any breakfast purchase offer in the app. There's never been a better reason to bring on the bacon. Always be baconating.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
Well, the first thing about Trevor Lawrence, the first time I've really seen him up close and personal, he is a big cat now. He's 6'6". He's bigger and faster than these two guys.
Twice as tall as you, Rob.
Easy. So he's big, but he's also fast. He ran away from a linebacker I knew that runs 4.5 or faster. But the #1 responsibility of a quarterback, and I've said this since I recruited quarterbacks and coached them, you have to earn the respect of your teammates. And what does that mean? That means that's the most unique position in all of sport. Those offensive players actually play for the quarterback, so you have to earn the respect.
That is Urban Meyer a few weeks back talking about Trevor Lawrence and his skill set and the qualities that make him most likely the #1 overall pick and most likely headed to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, first things first, Trevor Lawrence has to say, I'm going pro, which we all expect to happen in short order sooner than later, probably in the coming days. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos back on a Monday. Happy New Year. One final hour. We could go for days, which we will, 3 to 6 every day here on ESPN 690 in your car, on the stream, ESPN690.com, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You can get us just about anywhere, 10 different platforms and counting. And if you miss any of the show, go subscribe to the podcast, Action Sports Jacks, on ESPN 690. What do you see as a quarterback in the traits? I mean, you buying into what Meyer said right there, Austin? Even on the defensive side of the ball, you got to believe in that signal caller.
No, listen, I mean, Urban Meyer definitely wasn't wrong with that soundbite right there. Not even close, because while I played on the defensive side of the ball, the quarterback position can still be felt in the game, and it can be felt in the locker room. Whether it's two-a-days, whether it's practice, whether it's meetings, like the quarterback is the most influential guy on the team. Now, he doesn't have to be like the loudest guy. He doesn't have to be like the guy that's giving you the rah-rah speeches, but you have to feel the presence there. And in terms of guys like I play with, like Matt Stafford comes to mind, Alex Smith comes to mind, like those guys, they had a presence about him. I play with Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler, great quarterback, great arm talent, great. I mean, he was able to read defenses like you wouldn't believe. But in terms of just the influence being there, I had a hard time from the defensive side relating to him. So it is important.
Yeah, that's interesting, and good thoughts on that, too, because I think it is important for everybody to believe and rally. I actually went into this season thinking that Gardner Minshew had a lot of belief in him, more so than I had seen in recent memory with Bortles and other quarterbacks. And by the time the second month of the season rolled around, that had diminished. You saw the body language from teammates, obviously everything that transpired with Minshew. So, once again, those traits that Urban Meyer talks about, something this organization hasn't had in their quarterback because, one, the quarterback didn't demand that or didn't play well enough to command that. So they need to find that, and hopefully this kid can be that. And I say kid, I mean, he's probably feels like he's a 30-year-old guy. I mean, he's been in the spotlight forever. One of the things I like about Trevor Lawrence. I was getting some interesting comments on Arthur Smith. You mentioned Brian Daboll before. And Daboll, by the way, interesting note here, went to high school with former Jags GM Dave Caldwell. But the Arthur Smith stuff's interesting. A lot of comments saying, hey, can he bring Derrick Henry with him? And keep away from the Tennessee guy unless they're bringing Derrick Henry with him.
Yeah.
Is that a red flag about a guy like Arthur Smith? Because Henry's been so good. By the way, 2,000 yards, unbelievable. We don't talk enough about Derrick Henry. I know he's a part of the Titans, but he's from here. And it's just amazing what Derrick Henry has done the last 2 seasons especially, and what his career is becoming in the NFL. But is it a fair criticism or red flag about the offensive coordinator of the Titans that, hey, you might have James Robinson, but Derrick Henry had 1,000 more yards than James Robinson this year?
No, without a doubt. Like, listen, you're going to be a balanced attack offense when you have Derrick Henry, without a doubt. But this is the NFL, right? And to make it in this league, you have to adapt. Like, I can make the argument and say Matt LaFleur came from Tennessee back when Tennessee also ran the ball, back when they were, tough in the trenches and it was run first, pass second. Matt LaFleur goes from Tennessee to Green Bay. Now, how are the Packers doing? Are they running first or are they passing first? Well, last time I checked, they have a guy by the name of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. And guess what? And a bunch of no-namers, but they still get the job done week in and week out. So Matt LaFleur was able to adapt with Aaron Rodgers, and it is what it is from there.
Yeah, very good point. All right, I've got this. I tried to do a lot of work on the weekend on Urban Meyer. And there's this – people are stuck on the college game guy. And that's a concern and a fair concern. They bring up whether it's Lou Holtz from yesteryear or Steve Spurrier or Nick Saban. Again, fair game. I get it. But they don't want to bring up a guy like Pete Carroll. And I know Carroll had a couple of previous stints, so maybe he learned from that. But I'm telling you, and I've said it before, man, I don't look at Urban Meyer as much as a potential guy in terms of being in the NFL as much as Steve Spurrier as I do Pete Carroll. Like, I think he's more of that ilk. And I went and did a little more research on this, and it's kind of eerily similar in terms – obviously, Carroll was at USC. Carroll didn't leave USC in great shakes. But he got hired in 2010. He ended up hiring the GM, which certainly could happen if this is the way it goes in Jacksonville, and we're a long way from that. But and he's 59 years old when he gets the job at Seattle. He starts putting together that roster with John Schneider, and who's renowned now over the last decade as helping build that roster in Seattle. And Urban Meyer's 56. The difference is Carroll's a defensive guy by trade. Urban Meyer's an offensive guy. I think they both have some quirkiness to them, quite frankly. But I think they're darn good football coaches. They proved that at the college level. And it took 3 times for Pete Carroll to win at the NFL level. But I guess I don't need the experience from Urban as much because I feel like the college game and the NFL game are morphed together more than ever before. So, I just feel like maybe it's the sunshine and rainbows part of me that, hey, why can't he be Pete Carroll?
No, I mean, he definitely can be. And to prove your point a little more here, too, as well, I think in terms of blurring the lines between college and the NFL, I think the player personality and the player makeup now is more, blurred with college and the NFL, right? Like, I mean, back in the day, like when I was in college, man, like I was still a kid, right? But then I see guys like Josh Allen come in as a rookie and are like mature beyond their years. Now, every team's going to have their outliers. Some teams are going to have their, their rough around the edges guys. That's just the way it is. But I think for the most part, these college kids now are just, they're so self-aware of what's happening in the world and in football and everything. Like, they come ready to roll, right? Like, they know what's at stake. As opposed to when I was in college, I mean, I was at the Jack's Beach bars every single day. Let's just say that. Say no more.
Yeah. And here's the fair criticism. Mike Tannenbaum put this out today. Said head coaches with 1 or less years of previous NFL experience. Lane Kiffin, Matt Rule, Dennis Erickson, Chip Kelly, Steve Spurrier, Mike Riley, Cliff Kingsbury. Well, by the way, you're not getting a lot of success there. I think the overall record he has is 116 and 187. So those are guys that hadn't been to the NFL. Now, you take some guys that have been a little bit more successful and had some success. There's Pete Carroll. There's actually Doug Marrone on this list, from Syracuse to Buffalo to obviously the Jaguars. Bill O'Brien's on this list. And let's see, another guy that might have won a little bit, Jim Harbaugh, is on this list. So, but those guys had all had significant, like 3 to 5 to 7 to 16 years when it comes to Pete Carroll in the NFL in terms of experience. So it's a fair point. But I think what you just said has to carry – it's a different era. Like, I say this. I said this to somebody, and I don't even know if it's a fair comp, but this is what came to my mind. Is Lamar Jackson going to be playing quarterback 15 or 20 years ago in the NFL? And is he going to be the NFL MVP last year? I don't know if the answer to that is yes.
No, probably not.
So I think we can't sit here and get stuck with guys that didn't work out like Spurrier in the late 90s, early 2000s. The game has changed. The athlete has changed. Schemes have changed. And so I just think I'm not getting wrapped up in that. I think this guy's a good culture builder, a good leader, a good football coach, and a guy that's going to innovate a little bit on the offensive end. I don't care if he coached Pop Warner. Bring him on. Yeah. A good coach is a good coach, and I understand it's deeper than that. I really do, but it doesn't concern me as much. Let me ask you one other thing. Why would, other than health, is there any reason why Urban Meyer wouldn't come to Jacksonville or even the L.A. Chargers? You know, like, these are unbelievable opportunities for a guy that could get his first stint in the NFL. Like, those two jobs, and it's debatable, by the way, because they might be a little bit more set up for instant success in L.A. I think, personally, the biggest difference is ownership. Ownership has always been questioned with the Chargers. Yeah. And while you can question ownership around here as a fan, I don't think anybody who's been employed by the Jaguars would question ownership as much. Just ask Gus Bradley, Dave Caldwell, Doug Marrone, you know? So I think from a coaching standpoint, ownership here is more secure and something I could buy into. But is there any other reason we're missing? I mean, first overall pick, your franchise quarterback, money, draft picks, young roster, control. I can't think of anything else other than health, or I just like being a studio analyst for Fox, of why Urban Meyer wouldn't pick Jacksonville or even the Chargers.
Yeah, I would say so I'd say two things. Obviously, the health comes number one, and number two, that it's a complete rebuild. Because the entire time I've had people tell me, well, this is the most attractive job in the NFL, and it very well might be. But then why are we even putting the Chargers in the same realm? Because they have a quarterback already. Because they have pieces around them to be successful already. And plus, it's California, by the way. So, like, I think that it depends what he wants to get out of this, right? Like, let's be honest. Any coach that comes in here is going to have a tough challenge. It's going to take work. Like, it's going to be a very hard-fought process to improve what the old regime left behind. It's as simple as that. And maybe Urban Meyer's to the point where he's like, well, you know what? I want to coach in the NFL, but I don't want to do this whole overhaul thing. Like, I want to take a roster and I want to go. I don't want to rebuild and retool. So if that's the case, then the Chargers are more appealing. From what I think about Urban Meyer, and when I've heard him speak, what people say about him, I think that his ego wants him to have this job because he wants to put his fingerprint on it. He wants to start from scratch, and he wants to say, you know what, this is my doing. Look at how great I am. I think the Chargers' job can still do that, but there's a lot more pieces in place.
Hey, I got to go run and do TV for a couple moments. Talk about the NFL playoffs, man, because what a blast it's going to be. I think this playoff system with 3 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday, I think it's going to be incredible. A lot of good teams.
No, without a doubt. Cool, so I'll take it from here. Yeah, and real quick, too, regarding Urban Meyer, I want to touch on a little bit. So in terms of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I kind of alluded to this point a few seconds ago, everyone is telling me that they have the most attractive job in the NFL. And I don't think they're wrong. Now, you know what I'm going to say about it? I'm going to pull my hair out over this. To me, it doesn't matter. As long as you get the guy that you want, then it is what it is. Like I always say, don't go after the hottest girl in the bar. Go after the girl that you would spend the rest of your life with, right? theoretically speaking. So what is the best fit for Jacksonville? As we see like teams like the Detroit Lions, right now the Detroit Lions are trying to make big splashes. They're trying to go after the Seahawks GM. They're bringing in all these coaches, right? They're interested in Bieniemy. You hear Daboll rumors. Like the Detroit Lions right now are that team that's trying to make the most noise, right? And you have other teams out there as well. The Chargers are entering the fray, if you will. But there's a lot of teams out there that are trying to stir up the waves a little bit and say, hey, look at us, look at us, look at us. I find it very peculiar from the fact that everyone is telling me right now that the Jacksonville Jaguars have the most appealing job, but I don't see a lot of waves being, moved around with them. So what is that telling me? What is that showing? Well, it's one of two things. Either the Jacksonville job is not that appealing, which I think could be farther from the truth. You have Trevor Lawrence coming in. You have all these draft picks, no state tax. It's Florida. There's a lot of things to like about this Jacksonville job, and I would probably agree with people when I say it's the most intriguing job. So then it begs the question, if it's the most intriguing job, why aren't we hearing more names off the get-go? Shouldn't people be lining up to have this opportunity, whether you're a GM or you're a head coach, to take this job? And herein lies the answer. Because I think right now there's a plan in place. I think right now the reason why the Jaguars aren't making those waves, why they're not trying to churn up the waters a little bit, because they already have a jet ski. Because they already have a plan in place. And that plan in place, his name is Urban Meyer. I think right now the reason why they haven't been very active in terms of coaching and things like that is because they have the ace in the hole that is Urban Meyer. Now, whether that works out or not, time will tell. I think he wants $12 million a year. It's not my money. Throw all the money you want at him and see what happens. But I'm just saying, I think there's a method to the madness right now. And the reason why it's been kind of quiet on the home front for the Jacksonville Jaguars is because behind the scenes, I think they're making plays. I think we got a phone call here. Action Sports, Jack's call, star 690. We got Andrew on the line here. Goose, Andrew, what's going on, man?
Hey, Austin. Thanks for taking my call. Great show.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
So I had two questions for you. One was, fans have pretty much given up on Gardner Minshew. Minshew mania seems like it's over. Do you think Trevor Lawrence, if we go with him, or Justin Fields, do you think that there's going to be more patience from the fans in regards to letting him develop? And then my second question is for Urban Meyer, do you think he's going to be the right cultural fit for Jacksonville, given kind of the domestic abuse scandal that went on at Ohio State and just the kind of bad situation that we have with the NFLPA and Tom Coughlin and that whole mess that he left us?
Sure, that's a great question. Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, both great questions. So first of all, the first question you asked me, where is the leniency going to be on Trevor Lawrence? And it's a good call, right? Because Gardner Minshew comes in, 6th-round pick out of Washington State, and he comes in his first year. Intriguing. The mustache, the jean shorts, the headband. People were on board. It was Minshew mania. Second year he came out, and it seemed by the third or fourth game, people were over it. They were absolutely over it. And I think the fact that, he was a 6th-round pick, and I'm not saying that's fair or it's not fair, whatever the case may be, but that's the way it is. I think that when expectations are low for you from the get-go, fans are ready to move on to the next thing. I think the fact that Trevor Lawrence, or like you said, Justin Fields, when they come in here, you're the first pick of the draft, that first rounder, you get more leniency. But I'm going to be honest here. And I speak more from Trevor Lawrence right now than I do from Justin Fields. People are building Trevor Lawrence up to be the savior of this city. And he very well may be. But history has showed us that even when you have a special guy that's supposed to be the savior of a franchise, it takes time to develop. So the last thing I want to see this organization, specifically this fan base do, is build this guy up so much from the fact that, after those 3 or 4 games, maybe he's not who we thought he was, you're over it. It's going to take time. Just the way the NFL works. So you got to be patient with this guy. And who knows? Maybe it'll be like Patrick Mahomes where he comes out day one and just slings it and you like what you see. But I think from Trevor Lawrence's perspective, he's going to be the guy day one. Gardner Minshew next year isn't getting those starting reps. So it's going to take some patience. To answer your second question, because what was the second question, by the way? I want to make sure I don't mess it up here. So with Urban Meyer,
Cultural fit.
Is his cultural fit the right thing for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Listen, you Google Urban Meyer, you type in Urban Meyer's name, there's going to be some downside to what pops up, right? And you can't shy away from that. You have to address that, and I'm sure he'll be addressed that maybe even more in his career, in his future. I think that, in terms of drama and things, yes, that's going to follow him, but I know how this league works, right? And sometimes I disagree with how players are handled in terms of domestic abuse, where they get second chances, and I've gone on rants like that before. But at the end of the day, like I said, I know how this league works, and if it comes down to wins and losses, the other stuff gets pushed to the side. And if Urban Meyer comes in here, and I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, but let's be honest, Andrew, this is the way things be sometimes. If Urban Meyer comes in and wins football games, that's all that matters. The stuff that happened, at Ohio State, the stuff at Florida, I think gets washed away.
Austin, I think what's interesting about that conversation, too, and I thought about this a lot over the weekend when it comes to Urban Meyer, because Gator fans and everybody, they're like, no, not that guy, that guy. Again, I don't know if Urban's the salt-of-the-earth guy, and, we can debate who he is and likability, but I do think it's important to say this, that the way he left Florida, which was not very good, there were a lot of things going on at Florida when he left. He didn't leave Ohio State that way. Look what Ohio State's done since they left. Now, is that just Ryan Day? I don't think so. I think he left the program in pretty good shape. So whether that is him, how he grew, or just circumstance, but I think everybody reverts back to the Gainesville situation. That was now a decade ago. So I don't know if it's totally fair to mention one without the other. Now, we did have the Zach Smith situation, so there was a little bit more baggage there in Columbus as well. Hey, real quick, and we'll talk more about this, but how good is this NFL playoffs going to be?
Yeah.
I can't help but think, I know they went to 7 teams. Yesterday was kind of fun because there was some drama, and credit to the Jags and the Texans for really playing, and challenging those guys that needed to win with the Titans in Houston. But these matchups, man, I could go a lot of different ways in these matchups. And you know me, I don't think it's a clean walk for Kansas City to the Super Bowl. I don't believe that. In fact, I don't think they're going to make it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's not going to be a clean walk usually, right? Listen, I mean, so you're talking Browns. I think they're playing the Steelers. I mean,
yes.
Listen, it's hard to win 2 times in a row, especially against the same opponent. So I'm intrigued. There's a lot of great games here. The whole Washington thing last night, I know that left a lot of taste in some bad people, a lot of bad taste in people's mouths, especially Giants fans. But, dude, Washington, you can't sleep on them either. Now, I get they're the kind of the last team in, but they're playing at home. They're playing a very hot right now Tampa Bay team. But what is Mike Evans? Is he out for a while? We don't know that quite yet. So, literally game to game here I'm looking at. A lot can happen, let's just say.
Are you on the Buffalo train now? I mean, Buffalo might be playing the best football, even though I don't know if it's fair to say Kansas City's playing bad football.
No, I mean, I'm definitely on the Buffalo train. I've been advocates of them all year. I'm a big Josh Allen believer, but I'm still with Kansas City, man, hands down.
Here's the thing about Buffalo. I think there's a little bit of a magic carpet ride to them, The feeling in that city. They're getting a home game for the first time in 25 years. There is a connection there, and I think that's a cool thing. It doesn't mean you win, but I think that's a cool thing. Yet I say that, and I have not given up on my pick still. I still think Indianapolis is very good. Very good. And I know Phillip Rivers can't make mistakes, but that defense is strong. They can run the football, and T.Y. Hilton's playing the best football of the year. So I think that is such a good game. And by the way, I think Indy can win in all kinds of weather, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. But I just watched an Indy team that left, the Jacksonville Jaguars in their house for a little too long.
Yeah, I get it.
Let's just say.
I get it.
No, but at the end of the day, yes, Indy is built for any type of weather, right? When you need T.Y. Hilton, when you need Pittman, they're there. I love Nyheim Hines, what they do with him. And that's the kind of the thing that we talk about sometimes with these playoff games, as the X factor. Right? It's the guy that no one really talks about until the game's on the line and you need him to perform. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor is progressing as a rookie running back, but like guys like Nyheim Hines are the type of guys that can put you over to the next spot. And keep in mind with Tampa Bay as well, their X factor, depending on Mike Evans, could be Antonio Brown. Really surging now, really showing the old school Antonio Brown, if you will.
Yeah, and Tom Brady's cooking. I mean, they've got it going. You know, I know that's like an easy take right now, but remember, when we did our sleepers a couple weeks ago, it's like they hadn't hit stride yet, and they are hitting stride. Now, Mike Evans might hurt them. I really think if you look at it on paper, obviously the Washington game sticks out. They're 7-9. They might be able to threaten, but they're not great. You know, like you don't look at them and be like, oh, they could go win 3 games. They can't. So it's really that Tampa-Washington game that you'd say, okay, Tampa's probably going to win. Outside of that, have at it, boys. I think you could pick anybody. I really do.
I mean, I'm taking the Saints over the Bears for sure.
That's probably a good one, too.
The Seahawks-Rams is intriguing, but what about the Baltimore Ravens going to Tennessee?
I mean, unbelievable game.
Coin flip, in my opinion. Coin flip.
It's a good playoff. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we got it coming up this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Hey, more to get to here on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. First show of the new year, and plenty to talk about. Happy Jaguars offseason. Hope you're doing well on a Monday.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
A cool night tonight. Sweaters and jackets under clear skies. We drop into the upper 30s by morning. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, where you get the lowest diamond price guaranteed or your money back.
We should always be looking at our finances, but 2020 made my family take an even closer look, a bit more of a deeper dive, and it might have done the same for you, even into the world of retirement. Although that's a bit down the road for me, it might be closer for you, and your plan should already be under a microscope, and you have to lean on the experts to help guide the right plan. My friend Mike Lester with Talon Wealth Management is the perfect partner. He will provide a complimentary analysis and a plan for you. Call him at 904-515-5000 or visit guardingyournestegg.com. That's 904-515-5000 or guardingyournestegg.com. Mike will give you the guidance you need as retirement gets closer. He can help you convert company plans to private plans, a move that might give you higher returns and more options. You've earned the money. Now make sure you are ready for whenever retirement will be. Call Mike Lester at Talon Wealth Management, 904-515-5000. That's 904-515-5000. Or visit guardingyournestegg.com.
Hi, it's Phil with the Phil Aiken Home Team at Keller Williams. When it comes time to sell your home, put me and the Aiken Home Team to work for you. Here's why. Over the years, I've perfected the home selling system, putting the most money possible in your pocket. With my exclusive list of buyers in waiting, I may already have your buyer. And with thousands of buyers, I'm likely to create more demand and higher sales prices. I'll even guarantee to sell your home at a price agreeable to you, or I'll buy it myself. Don't just take it from me. Let me introduce actual clients, Lynn and Craig. Tell us about your home selling experience.
We were immediately at ease. We had a great deal of confidence that any questions we had or anything that we needed to learn about the process was going to be handled in an expert and professional way.
We sold our home in just 2 days for $3,500 more than list price. Anyone who wants to sell needs to call Phil Aiken Home Team.
Thanks for sharing. The number to call is 904-500-PHIL. That's 904-500-7445. Or visit philhasthebuyers.com.
If you love golf or know somebody who does, you need to get this deal. 8 rounds of golf for less than $12 per round plus cart fees with a Dream 18 golf card at great area golf courses like St. John's Golf and Country Club, Amelia River Golf Club, and Eagle Landing Golf Club. And this isn't just a golf card. Get a free shirt from Baker Sports, a free hat at Dome Hats, and a free smoothie from Smoothie King, plus 15% off any purchase at Palm Beach Autographs. Go to ESPN690.com to purchase the Dream 18 card for $95. Hundreds of dollars in savings and the perfect gift.
Saying goodbye to a loved one is never easy. Hi, I'm Larry Self, owner of the Casket Store. For the past 20 years, we've been helping people create the perfect cemetery headstone. Our process is simple, no pressure, and our prices are surprisingly low. We install headstones, bronze markers, and upright monuments in any cemetery in the Southeast. We also offer bronze plaques for churches and schools. For more information and to see our work, please visit us at thecasketstore.com.
If you love golf, you need to get this deal. 8 rounds of golf for less than $12 a round, plus card fees, with the Dream 18 golf card at great area golf courses like the Golf Club at Southampton, the club at Osprey Cove, and Hidden Hills Golf Club. And this isn't just a golf cart. Get a free shirt from Baker Sports, a free hat at Dome Hats, and a free smoothie from Smoothie King, plus 15% off any purchase at Palm Beach Autographs. Go to ESPN690.com to purchase the Dream 18 card for just $95. Hundreds of dollars in savings and the perfect gift.
If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and school just isn't for you, earn while you learn by enrolling in the Clara White Mission Workforce Training, designed for 16 to 24-year-olds and no experience necessary. National certifications include culinary arts, OSHA, HAZWOPER, forklifting, environmental training, and more. These programs are customized for low income and disadvantaged. Make your way to the Clara White Mission Training Center at 613 West Ashley Street. Call 904-354-4162 or visit clarawhitemission.org.
This message is sponsored by the Florida A&M University Medical Marijuana Education and Research Initiative, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Now that medical marijuana is being used in Florida, you need information. Just log on to the Mary YouTube videocast to learn about medical marijuana use in Florida. We talk to doctors, nurses, pastors, pharmacists, legislators, and law enforcement officials to bring you the most up-to-date information about medical marijuana use in Florida. Subscribe and never miss an update.
It is the home of the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18, and make it your home course as well. The Golf Club at Southampton in North St. Johns County, located off County Road 210. It's family-owned and operated. Southampton is a fun course to play, and the Golf Club at Southampton offers club membership programs starting at just $79. With its elite practice facilities and player-friendly golf course design, it'll be your gateway to a great time with the family or with your buddies. For information on the membership programs, call the Golf Club at Southampton, 904-287-PLAY. Again, it's 904-287-PLAY.
Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mehenti.
I despise analytics. It felt like Kevin Cash lost his ability to feel the game.
Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Zubin. Weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio or streaming live on the ESPN app.
Austin Lane.
And Tony Khan clap back. There you go, Kuz. There's your clap back for you.
Clapped.
So,
It's a
clap.
gamer thing.
Eric Clapton. Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be a good gamer name.
I'm using that tonight.
Gamer names.
Check your boy, Eric Clapton.
Oh, that's so good.
Brent Martineau.
Yeah. You guys just had a moment.
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
You know, it'd be silly for us to say, hey, he's big, he can throw. Yeah, no, you can watch videotape and see that. Earning respect. I can't get that through enough. Earning respect at the most important position on any team, I think in all sport, is the number one criteria. How do you do that? Number one, are you a competitor? Number two, are you tough? Can you lead? And can you adapt to a broken play?
That's more of Urban Meyer on Fox talking about Trevor Lawrence. You can steal this, but could this be a Trevor town with an urban district?
Boo.
Who's stealing it? Who's stealing that?
I mean, hey, isn't that better than Lot J?
I mean, it's better. You know, it's. I get it. It's a play on words. You know, hey, to each side. Hey, you know what, Brett? That phrase was made for your Twitter followers.
Yeah, I didn't even push it out there, but I'm proud of that one. I kind of
do it. Push it out there. See the response that you get. I can't wait.
One note, by the way, about not Lot J related, but kind of Lot J related.
Yeah.
Can we get our public officials off social media? Can we please? I request New Year's resolution.
Yeah, man.
Off social media, please. Like, this isn't like who I vote for, who I like, who I don't like. I mean, there's not even that. I don't even know most of the people.
Yeah.
But just stop. Okay, we got a good thing going here in 2021.
Yeah.
We got the number one overall pick. Going to end up with Trevor Lawrence. There's a buzz about a guy like Urban Meyer, but either way, you're going to get a new coach, a new GM. We're looking forward around here.
Yeah.
And you're going to hold us back with some social media chatter with our public officials? I mean, come on. It's a new world in Jacksonville. Don't do that.
So it was crazy, right? Because obviously during the game, I try to watch the game. I'm not on my cell phone too much. Well, I told you how, like, a bunch of my friends follow, like, the political stuff in Jacksonville just because, like, it's kind of like satire to them. They're like, dude, what is, like, you know, what are they doing now? Well, then, of course, one of my friends texts me from Wisconsin, like, hey, what is this supposed to mean? So now, I kind of dive into it, and then I see the back and forth. And listen, Brent, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I had a tweet locked, loaded, and ready to fire. And I was so close to posting it last night, and then I'm like, you know what? While some good may come of it, I don't want to go down this road right now. I don't want to get into politics. So I hit delete, and I'm probably a better man for it.
Oh, can you share it with me off air at least? Or can
maybe,
you share it with us now?
I'm gonna paraphrase a little bit. All right, because obviously I'm sure if you're in the city of Jacksonville, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm referring to. We don't need to get back into it again. But I truly believe this. Like, the more that I've lived in Jacksonville now, the past 5-6 years off and on, like the more I've started to become aware of like what's going on in terms of politics, in terms of development, because that's important. I'm a citizen of the city. I love this city, and I want to see this city flourish. And I'll be honest with you, man, it straight up pisses me off when elected officials that people put in charge, people that put in the office or in the seat that are supposed to serve the people, put it upon themselves to let their inflated egos rule over the people. Like, you're supposed to be representing our city, okay? And sometimes it's funny. Like, it's funny when my friends go, dude, what's happening in Jacksonville now? Like, that's crazy. Yeah, sometimes it's funny. But, like, it's lost its luster, man. It's not funny anymore. It's embarrassing. Like, we put you in charge. So lead. Like, how do you expect us to be good people if the people leading us are doing what they're doing right now?
Yeah, it is very.
That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, social media can get you back to 7th grade in a hurry. That was like back to 7th grade kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it was wow. But anyway, I digress. I just had to say that because.
No, I'm glad you did, man.
I'm just advising. By the way, I'm just trying to be this is not, again, I don't know enough about all the stuff. I don't deal with that. And I like a lot of people that would be under this umbrella. At least they've been good to me and of what I know. I don't really have a lot of friends, I would say, in city office positions. But my advice would just be get off. Like, stop.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. And if you got the sports guy in town telling you to stop, maybe you should listen.
And listen,
maybe you should, if it's gotten to the point where I'm telling you to stop.
Yeah.
Maybe you should stop.
And listen, we are elected officials, so we can say whatever we want. That's our job. But I'm saying if people put you in positions of power because they voted you there, they put their trust in you, and this is how you turn around and do the people, man, I can't co-sign on that. I'm sorry. And by the way, a real rough weekend for me, by the way, because then Maurice Jones-Drew's coming out saying the fact that, maybe Justin Fields #1. Okay, so now I got to delete my video, and I got to put Dilla as Ant-Man now because I can't have Maurice Jones-Drew as Ant-Man anymore. So all the editing, all the hard work, down the tubes. A rough weekend for me, Brent.
By the way, I talked to Maurice Jones-Drew about, I can't even tell you how much over the weekend.
Okay.
And so I love Mojo, and one of the great things about Maurice is, man, he loves his football team. He really does. He cares so much about it. And so I think we're going to try to have him on this week. We'll see. But it's just interesting to hear him. We go back and forth a little bit, and obviously we had some comments, too, on social media about Trevor Lawrence. So we'll let him talk about it later in the week when we get him on, most likely.
Did he see the video?
I didn't ask him about that. I kind of forgot about that part of it, although everybody else has, so maybe he did.
Hopefully. Well, then people are saying, well, that's kind of messed up. You put Maurice Jones-Drew as Ant-Man. That was never even, the point. Like, that never even crossed my mind, Brent. Like, come on now.
Hey, over the weekend on Saturday, this was kind of right before, actually, all the urban stuff really heated up.
Yeah.
And I was seriously, on Saturday, I was doing some work for some of our shows on Sunday, and I really started to – we were doing this thing like, who do you think the Jags will take? So we did that on Countdown to Kickoff last night, and yesterday morning before the final Jags game, and so I started doing some research. Like I was like, okay, let's try to figure this out. And all right, Urban's out there, but I still have a feling, quite frankly, that Urban's going to not come back to coaching. I just think the health's going to win out. That's my feeling right now. I love the talk. I'm actually all in if it happens, to be honest with you. I like the swing for the fence. I just don't think he's going to, even if offered, say, I'm back in. I think the family might win out in this one. Mm-hmm. That's my gut right now. So anyway, I start thinking, all right, who else? I'm with you. I like Saleh a lot. I do. I think he could be like the next big thing in coaching. I do like I like the idea of Daboll probably even more than Arthur Smith, quite frankly, working with your Trevor Lawrence quarterback.
As do I.
And you know me, like last week I think we were talking about this. I was like, Marvin Lewis and Jim Caldwell, I mean, aren't they a little old? And I know that sounds like age discrimination, but I was like, I don't know. Well, Caldwell had a health scare, 65, and his resume is actually very good.
Yes.
And so I could see it. And it makes some sense to me. But the more I did on Marvin Lewis, the more I looked into him, and the more I really thought, which was interesting that the Urban stuff heated up, because my main line of thinking here with Marvin Lewis was, I really feel like Shad's going to try to get away from the drama, like really try to steady this thing, because Shad is a steady guy. Like if you've been around Shad, he's not emotional, he's steady. And so I'm like, there's been too much, right? There's been, from players to Coughlin to whatever, the dynamic in there, it's been too emotional. It's a roller coaster. Like, what's going on? And so you get a Marvin Lewis or even a Jim Caldwell type, and you steady that thing out, and you know what you're getting. You know exactly who that guy is. You know what you're getting. And he's a good man, right? I mean, you've heard the same. We've all heard the same, like just a super guy. And so I just started at it, and the more you look at Cincinnati, what he did in 5 straight, would you sign up for 5 straight years of the playoffs right now? I'll take a chance that he gets a win or not. Yeah. But 5 straight years of the playoffs, come on, people, don't poo-poo that. I mean, that's pretty damn good. In Cincinnati, where the owner's supposedly cheap, and it was Cincinnati, and look what they did before and after. I mean,
and it's Cincinnati.
Like I'm telling you, it's not like I fell in love with Marvin Lewis. I understand, like I wouldn't be running to the ticket office for Marvin Lewis. I just wonder if a guy like Marvin Lewis is the best situation. And the more I read up, he's been in the college game with Arizona State most recently. I think he could adapt to that younger generation, and he's probably learning more about that younger generation.
Yeah.
He could assemble a good staff from what I've read. I just don't sleep on Marvin Lewis, man. Don't sleep on Marvin Lewis.
No.
When this all shakes out.
I get what you're saying. Let me ask you this, Brent, real quick. Did Marvin Lewis ever win a Super Bowl? Did he win one in Baltimore? As the coordinator, was he gone? I think he was gone by then.
I think he was gone, and Caldwell's the one that won the Super Bowl in 2012 when he came out as the offensive coordinator.
Correct.
In Baltimore.
Okay, yeah, so with that being said, like, listen, I get what you're saying about Marvin Lewis, and right now, if you're a Jaguars fan, let's keep it realistic. You would take the playoffs, okay? You would absolutely fiend for the playoffs, right? You got to start small, work your way up. But at the same time, this coach, where he's coached at, I don't think he's ever been a part of a championship before.
I know.
And sometimes that can say something, right? Because we see it with players all the time. Hey, this player won a Super Bowl. Let's get him on the team because he knows what it takes to win. Does Marvin Lewis truly know how to win the big one? There's a big question mark there.
And that's a fair question. It really is. It's a fair question. But he did a lot with a little, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
So I wouldn't hate it. I know a lot of people did. They didn't like it when I put it out there. But I would not hate it at all in Jacksonville. And long term, it might work out. We'll see what happens. One more segment to go. Austin's doing a cool thing tomorrow. I'm going to ask him a little bit about it because I don't really know much about it.
Sure.
But it's next on ESPN 690.
The Max Kellerman Show.
He holds the ball too long. There's no pocket awareness. His mechanics are no good. His decision-making's awful. His internal clock is busted. Wentz will never be a good quarterback again. Has nothing to do with Hurts giving you a better chance to win. Has nothing to do with fixing Carson Wentz. You ready for this? Because you got to see what you have in Jalen Hurts. You got to find out, and you got to find out now.
The Max Kellerman Show, weekdays at 2 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And now, watch exclusively on ESPN+.
We should always be looking at our finances, but 2020 made my family take an even closer look, a bit more of a deeper dive, and it might have done the same for you, even into the world of retirement. Although that's a bit down the road for me, it might be closer for you, and your plan should already be under a microscope. And you have to lean on the experts to help guide the right plan. My friend Mike Lester with Talon Wealth Management is the perfect partner. He will provide a complimentary analysis and a plan for you. Call him at 904-515-5000 or visit guardingyournestegg.com. That's 904-515-5000. 515-5000 or guardingyournestegg.com. Mike will give you the guidance you need as retirement gets closer. He can help you convert company plans to private plans, a move that might give you higher returns and more options. You've earned the money. Now make sure you are ready for whenever retirement will be. Call Mike Lester at Talon Wealth Management, 904-515-5000. That's 904-515-5000. Or visit guardingyournestegg.com.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
You probably played this as a kid, especially if you had siblings. Put a kink in the garden hose when your brother's trying to use it, then once the nozzles turn towards him, let it go. It's more fun when you're the older brother. The thing is, even a slight kink will reduce water flow to a trickle, and Flex Duct is like that too. Now you might be thinking,
it can't be that screwed up, can it? I can still feel air coming out of the vents.
And without working in air conditioning my whole life, I might think the same thing. Unfortunately, it can and often is that screwed up. Kinked and spaghetti ductwork, hairpin turns, it's why our techs take pictures. And just because airflow is coming out of the vent doesn't mean it's adequate airflow. It's why Griffin service techs measure airflow and static pressure rather than just feeling with their hands and guessing. Because without adequate airflow, performance turns into turd buckets. The good news, it doesn't take that much work to dramatically improve airflow and comfort. The better news, from now until February, you can get a deal on fixing your ductwork. But only if you call
GriffinService.com.
License number 1250697.
I'm Action News Jack's Tanika Hughes, and one of the great things about living in Jacksonville is our diverse communities. It's so important that the local stories we cover in our newscasts reflect the people who live here. That's why we've launched Action News Jack's Gets Real, to get real on issues like racism, housing challenges, and unequal access to health care. It's having difficult conversations, as well as celebrating people making a difference. This is Action News Jack's Gets Real. Real talk, real change.
Nothing is certain except death and taxes. And your appliance is breaking down as soon as they're out of warranty. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we can't help with the first two, but we've got the third one covered. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have been repairing appliances for more than 35 years, with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. For quality repair at a price that's fair, trust Atlantic Coast Appliance. AtlanticCoastAppliance.com. That's AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Most people don't realize there is a Holocaust gallery right here in Jacksonville at Jewish Family and Community Services. Also, there are many Holocaust survivors that live locally. The Frisch Family Holocaust Memorial Gallery features rotating exhibits, making it a great free resource to schools, civic groups, anyone. And it's so important we remember, especially our youth. Jewish Family and Community Services, here for remembrance, here for Jacks. Learn more at hereforjacks.com.
If you love golf, you need to get this deal. 8 rounds of golf for less than $12 per round plus card fees with the Dream 18 golf card at great area golf courses like Queens Harbor Yacht and Country Club, Fleming Island Golf Club, and 6 others. And this isn't just a golf card. Get a free shirt from Baker Sports, a free hat at Dome Hats, and a free smoothie from Smoothie King, plus 15% off any purchase at Palm Beach Autographs. Go to ESPN690.com to purchase the Dream 18 card for $95. Hundreds of dollars in savings and the perfect gift.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Welcome into the show, a name you know. If you've been listening and watching ESPN for a long time, I know you know him. We're going to call him one of the forefathers, if you will, of sports radio, Mike Greenberg.
Thank you. Forefathers is an interesting, that's fascinating. Every day, as I talk to more people, I get older and older. So that's kind of funny.
Listen weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. in your car or stream them. ESPN690.com.
If you look at, some of the successful head coaches in the NFL, 4 years ago, you probably had not heard of them. I think there's a lot of talent out there. And frankly, we want to look at all that. So I mean, if they're assistants, proven head coaches, all of that we'd be looking at. The rumor of Urban Meyer, obviously, I've known Urban over the years through Big Ten and what have you, but we've not spoken to anyone about this job or obviously interviewed him. I mean, this is something, it's just, made the decision this morning. So, I'll leave it at that.
That is Shad Khan earlier today. A bunch of different topics he touched on, including Urban Meyer. And his relationship with Urban Meyer dates to the Big Ten. Of course, Urban at Ohio State. Shad Khan with ties to Illinois, where he went to school. And that's the tie. And now the reports over the weekend have been heavy. I think Ian Rappaport continues to report that Urban Meyer is the favorite to get the job. Vegas thinks he's the favorite to get the job. Some people believe that it's really just up to Urban Meyer, whether he wants the job or not. How do we know if all of that kind of work has been done? Who knows? Like I said, I think this stuff happens all the time where there's overtures and kind of a feeling out process of, hey, would he be interested down the road? Or these conversations could have taken place last year, for all we know, with representation. So I don't think we can get caught up with the semantics. There is the Rooney Rule, of course, to abide by and take into effect, and that's important. And so there is a process in this followed, and it can be viewed as tacky or bad form to be doing some of this stuff before Doug Marrone was actually fired. We brought that up earlier on the show, Austin, that maybe they should have fired Doug Marrone a couple weeks ago just to open the door for these possibilities to exist. That way it didn't get muddy like that. And that's debatable. We've seen Shad Khan handle it a couple of different ways now in terms of firing coaches or other people in his organization. Brett Martineau, Austin Lane, putting a bow on really what's a start to a 2021 that in the offseason especially is going to be, I think, a lot of fun. I mean, I'm fired up about it. It's not just the Urban Meyer talk. It's the Trevor Lawrence talk. It's the idea of a new regime, a new beginning, and there's a lot to look forward to for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So you have to like that. Real quick, I'm going to go rapid fire.
Yeah, real quick, too. I got to get a little stat correction here. So according to @RealMBB, and I checked it and it checks out, he said that Marvin Lewis did, in fact, win a Super Bowl with the Ravens as a DC back in 2000. So I stand corrected.
Okay, good enough. And so he was a part of that organization, and that's how he ended up for a long time in Cincinnati. So we appreciate that. Thanks for listening and checking on that. We need more people to check us.
Yeah, please. Frankly. Please.
Yeah, so please do. Don't hesitate.
Hold me accountable.
We are our humility is there.
We are men in office, and we work for the people.
And don't tweet about everything. Well, kind of do tweet about everything.
I
will. Dan Mullen. I'm going to go rapid fire quick. Dan Mullen to the Jets, to the NFL, to whatever. Do you think it happens or no?
No, listen, Dan Mullen rubbed me the wrong way for that press conference after that loss, in that bowl game. When you start making up excuses, like, listen, I was always taught as a kid, be a great winner, be a better loser. And you can tell a lot about people when they lose. Dan Mullen gave me all the wrong vibes, all the red flags when he had excuse after excuse after excuse why he lost that bowl game.
Dan Mullen, he's got some PC work to do, Yeah. He's got to get that image took a hit this year in a lot of different ways. And he can win. He's a good football coach. Does he want to deal with all that stuff? Does he go to the NFL? I don't see it happening either right now. Did the Eagles do the NFL a disservice last night not playing Jalen Hurts?
No, cry me river. Like, listen, if you're a 6-win team complaining about getting the playoffs, then this sport's not for you. So I'm not mad about that, but he did his team a disservice, okay? He did the guys in that locker room a disservice because now you've lost trust in that locker room. Those guys in that locker room want to win football games, and you set them up for failure. So I think this is going to linger, okay? This isn't going to go away next year. I think that he may have lost that locker room.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point because my question's not about the Giants. Forget the Giants. They won 6 games.
Yeah.
But this was an NFL problem. Like, people were piling on this, the integrity of the game. Kelsey's quote that now is floating out there again in terms of we want to win. The J.J. Watt kind of quote, I mean, heck, this was way more tanking, it felt like, than the Jets or Jags.
Mm-hmm.
So the integrity, that word integrity is so important in sport. And, again, it was a bad look, no doubt about it, for Doug Peterson, the fact that we're even talking about it.
I would have been upset if I was a player on that team. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I can tell you this. We know a guy like Malik Jackson very well.
Yeah.
If he takes offense to that, they're going to know it.
Yeah,
he'll be outspoken about something like that. That
As
won't
he
sit
should
well
be.
with a guy like Malik Jackson. I'm sure many other players as well. Is Tua going to work out in Miami?
Oh, that's a great question. I think he will, but he needs obviously a lot more time. And that's with most first-year quarterbacks they need.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about Tua. It doesn't mean he can't make it, but you start to wonder if you don't see enough stuff early, if he's going to ever be, really good. And that's what you hope with a 5th overall pick.
Oh, without a doubt.
So that's concerning. Hey, what the heck are you doing tomorrow morning? You going double duty?
Yeah, I'm going
are you
double
skipping
duty.
workouts for this stuff? What are you doing
man,
tomorrow?
I got it all scheduled. So tomorrow morning, starting at 6 a.m., I'll be on 95.1 WAPE, and I'll be doing the morning show, just guest co-hosting for Tuesday and Wednesday there with my co-host Megan Lane. So
all right,
yeah.
listen in. So tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.?
Bright and early, 6 a.m. We're going until, I believe, 10 a.m. So
but
it'll be
you
nice
will
long.
be here tomorrow at 3.
Oh, Brent, I ain't going nowhere, man. I already told you. I put in that contract for that other station that talks about Most Southwest. They didn't get back to me. I'm here for the long run.
I leave you with this. We all wish we were Matt Schaub. He's retiring. Didn't even know he was still playing. He's been a backup quarterback for so long. He made $94 million in his career.
Hey,
what a life.
That's an extra juicy pension right there. Congrats to Matt Schwab. Dude, I used to play against him back in the day in Houston when he played there.
Live Local Loud coming up next on ESPN 690. We'll see you on Jags Report Live at Fox 30 at 7 o'clock. Have a good night, everybody.
Hi, it's Brian Kilmeade for Phil Aiken Home Team Keller Williams Realty. I'm talking with Greg and Gary about their recent home sale. Why did you call Phil Aiken?
We called